Everything's all set. Kind of looks like it. All right. Okay, let's get stuff set up here and we'll be ready to go. Wait for it to show up on YouTube, but I don't see it for some reason. So, oh, there it is. It took a second. Let's see if we're on the air. Okay, that one works. Now let's check Twitch. All right, I think we are at least running everywhere. So let's post the messages and we'll get started. Okay, there's that one. Let's wake everyone up on Discord. Always pleasant. And go. And let's see, where else? Game Joel. Might as well. Is it going? Okay, good. Alright. I think we're all set then. Let me take away the starting soon. And now we're actually here. We're started. We're good. How is everyone? I'm a little sick today, but Cobra Code. Yeah, we'll get to that. The things I want to go over today. I'm a little sick, so I don't know how long I'm going to stick around. And we were late because we took the cat to the vet. Poor little guy had to be fixed. It is what it is. He's doing all right. He's doing really good. He's already back at it, doing his cat things, and he's feeling good. So that's good. They were late with that, and we had to stay late, and then I got back late, and snowball effect. So yeah, we're here. We're gonna do a couple things. We're gonna go over some of the project updates. Excuse me, that have happened. I need water. I don't drink enough water before stream. Yummy. Project updates. I typed out some notes for myself so that I would remember this. Project updates. What we talked about in the meeting a little bit. That happened on Friday. And then we're gonna look at how to do correct colors in Unreal that I had to figure out because everybody was telling how to do it the wrong way. So I will share that secret as I have promised, but it has been a very big delay. So we'll do that, and then I guess I'll cut that and put it on YouTube or something so everybody else can see it too. So yeah, let me just kind of jump into it. So project update wise, well, let me just go here. So here's the game. It's a video game. It runs. It actually works. Do I have controller? I do have controller. So not too much has really changed because we're doing, like I said, we're in the prototype phase, or we ended the prototype phase, and now we're doing the, okay, what did we learn in the prototype? What are we going to do next and planning stuff? So not a lot of build changes. However, explosion effect. I based that one off the arcade version of that used the Power Fighters Power Battle sprites. And I think it looks pretty good. It's really smooth, it's really fancy. I kind of changed it a little bit. So I edited it to be... How do I want to put it? I tried to take the best aspects of both Mega Man 7 and the arcade game explosions and come with some sort of slight hybrid on it. And then added at least one frame where the ring starts to break apart at the end, which, as far as I could tell, the arcade just never did for some reason. They had larger explosions too, and the larger ones you could see the ring, the energy ring, kind of break apart, but the small explosion didn't have that. So I just drew a frame or two to make that happen. But I think it looks pretty good. The cluster explosion effect has not been... Whoop, I fell in the pit. was not adjusted yet, so that one looks a little too busy. Like that one looks like too much is happening at the same time. I'd probably delay them just a little bit so that they're a little more distinct, but they're kind of cool. I also added I don't know if you can see it or not, because some of the streams here are at 30 FPS just because the platform won't go any higher. But I inserted a black frame before them, so it's like full circle, but it's completely black. And the reason you do that is when you want the next frame to have more impact. So you've got the black frame that you might not even see it, but your eye registers that like there's been a slight darkness, and then if the next frame in that area is bright, then it just feels more bright because it was black and now it's, you know, white or you know, light yellow in this case. And it kind of makes it feel a little more punchy. So I ended up doing that. I didn't really touch too much else graphically in the build, but there is a big rendering enhancement that you may not notice. In the trailer, we did not have any image interpolation, and interpolation is like smoothing, I guess. So when you zoom in, you can see there's a little bit of like mixing of the pixels here, and the reason we have to do that is because if you just use nearest neighbor or like clean pixels and you are not the screen size will not scale up perfectly. Like you say, oh, if I take this screenshot and resize it by 300%, if it doesn't fill the entire screen, we have to kind of stretch it to like maybe 323% or something, and that causes all the pixels to be uneven. And you'll notice that not so much when it's standing still, but if you're walking and the screen is scrolling, you'll see this like wobble or shimmer, this weird distortion effect as the screen scrolls. And this is how you fix that. And this is probably like the best way to do it. We came to this conclusion because when we were doing experimentations on a different project, this interpolation seemed to be the best, and this is super sampling. So we make an image that's bigger than the screen and then shrink it down, and it gets a little more detail in there. A lot of games don't seem to do that. They seem to make a smaller image and then expand it further, and it gets really blurry when you do that, unfortunately. So we did basically the thing that'll give you the sharpest results possible under these circumstances, and it really works. Like, you don't see any pixel shimmer, you know, as we go on. Like, obviously not all the rooms here are going to be moving, but let's debug our way for speed's sake over here and just kind of like watch the background. You know, if you're in full screen, if you're on mobile, you're not going to see it anyway, but there's no shimmer. The pixels don't fluctuate, they're all perfectly smooth. So when you're at full screen, it really, really, really helps. So I'll just debug my way through. But you'll see, No shimmering, no nothing. The trailer did have a bit of shimmering, and it did have a bit of distortion. Like on the light bars, if you look closely in the trailer, the light bar units actually looked like they were different sizes because there was no interpolation there. There was no smoothing. But here they look exactly the same all the way from top to bottom. So it is a huge improvement. Once you notice it, it's awful. Like, you cannot unsee it once you see it. It's a pretty bad thing. So I get a little what's the word? Not carried away, but I get really uppity about that screen smoothing stuff because I've seen it and now I can't unsee it, so I have to make sure that the game doesn't look like crap. Because I know other people are going to notice it, especially the retro crowd really notice that kind of stuff. So I got to make sure that it's good to go. So that's fine. I mean, we're going to do other things too, like CRT effects and stuff. They're still in development. They're not ready yet. But there's definitely been work to that effect. Yeah, shimmerless. Yeah, I hate it. Whenever I see it in games, I hate it. And there's other games, like I said, that get too blurry. Like, you don't have to make it super blurry. And I don't know if they don't know how to super sample or they didn't think of it, but super sampling is definitely the way to go if you want to kill the shimmer without making the image blurry. And the higher resolution that you play it at, like if you play it at 1080, you'll never see it. The blurriness by this kind of sharp super sample interpolation, you'll never see it. Even if you like put your face close to the screen, you still may not see it because it's so sharp. Because it only blurs on like 1 pixel line. And if at like 4K, there's no hope. Like, you have to get like a damn magnifying glass to see it. So it looks really good. If you don't tell anybody that it's interpolated, they wouldn't even notice it. It just looks nice and smooth. Chat says, thought a little something. Maybe an alternative sidebar could include some sub-screen info, like spare tanks. Oh, you mean yeah? I guess I did add that, and the little like wallpaper on the side here actually was not in the build when I did the trailer. I actually just pasted that in when I did the video, but it's actually in here now. We actually have wallpapers that take up the sides. That's what you mean, right? On the side here, you'd like to see like additional info, maybe like you said, subtanks and stuff. Yeah, you know, I hadn't thought about that, but that might not be a terrible idea to have this kind of like a UI thing. The only issue with that is if, like right now, it doesn't do it. You'll just get black borders on top and bottom. But what I want to do is for the central gameplay image to resize so that it'll try to fit as best as it can within the window. And so you may not actually see much of this stuff on the side, if at all. You know, if you shrink the window down so that it's just the size of the screen, or the proportion, I guess, of the screen, you won't see the stuff at all. And if the window is tall, like a portrait mode, you'll actually see the wallpaper above and below and not to the sides. So there are some considerations with that as to like what happens then. Does it just disappear? You know, how would you make it work in all scenarios? So I'll think about it. It's definitely not a bad idea because it is sort of wasted space. Some people would consider it, or some people might even want to just turn the wallpaper off, which will have options, you know, to do different things with it. But yeah, that's definitely something I'll keep in mind. I think that's all the build changes. What else did we do? That's all the build changes. So the other thing was that we had our meeting about what we're gonna do. We went over the prototype stuff. We said, okay, here's what we did, is how long it took us to do what we needed to do, and then, you know, went through, okay, if we want to do everything that we want to do, all the extras, all the bells and whistles, what is it gonna take? And so we calculated it'd be roughly about 2 years. And everybody seemed okay with that, so we're just gonna go with that. If we feel like we need to scale something back, or if something happens to slow things down and we can't get to everything, then that kind of is what it is. But I'd like to get all the bells and whistles, obviously. I don't think any dev doesn't want to do all the the cool super stuff. But that's where we are at this point. So we're guessing about 2 years. You know, that's a little bit kind of like, as long as nothing catastrophic happens, there's a little leeway in that schedule where, you know, something slows down or we run into a problem, we got a little leeway. But if something catastrophic happens, then, you know, it's going to push it past that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know, I'm expecting that we'll probably pick up some more people to help too, so that could change the schedule a little bit. It's always good to be cautious when you're trying to make an estimate like that, because you never know. You could just run into some crazy issue that takes 3 weeks to fix, and then all of a sudden now you're 3 weeks behind schedule, and yeah, it's tough. So let's see. If it's a square format, it wouldn't show the extra info, right? For widescreen, it would show a little extra data in that, and then for vertical, it would show a little extra data on top and bottom. Yeah, and well, but that's what I mean by feature creep too. It's kind of like, okay, well now we've got to make sure that it works in all scenarios and build 2 different orientations, make sure all the data syncs and all that. Yeah. Let's see, if Neptune attacks again, we'll have an emergency, right? Is the game made in Unreal Engine? I thought it was made in Game Maker or Godot. No, it's Unreal Engine. This is the Unreal logo here. I'm sure you can see it, yeah. Yep, it's Unreal Engine, through and through. When I was weighing my options, switching from Unity, Unreal really seemed like the only real serious option. I've gone into detail as to why that is on a previous stream, so you can always check the VODs out on YouTube, which, yeah, you're on YouTube, so yeah, there you go. YouTube's probably the best place to watch a stream, honestly, because you have the quality controls and all that, where Twitch doesn't give that to you unless you're like big, and I'm definitely not, so if it stutters or if it's hard to view it, just go to the YouTube. That's the place to watch it. But yeah, so I decided to go with Unreal. So we went through the plans of what we want to do, and we talked at length about how we're going to proceed. And right now the decision is we're going to redo the Mercury level in the way that I described before, where we're not satisfied with simply upscaling the Game Boy graphics and just making the tiles roughly the same as they were before. We want to go through and kind of, I don't want to say reimagine, because that might be kind of, I don't think what we're doing is that intensive. Excuse me. But we want to take like the style of graphics, say, oh, like this cylinder looks cool. You know, can we make like a big cylinder that takes up this whole platform here, right? Why don't we make a big one and it'll look nice and cool, but add a lot of little details, you know, add stuff to it. I don't know, maybe there's pipes coming off of it or something, and put that here. Instead of this just kind of like somewhat non-distinct mess of tiles, let's actually turn that into something. Let's say, oh, what is this hallway? You know, maybe this is a big room. We'll have an expansive far background, and maybe there's more little conveyor belts in the background. You know, you don't interact on them, they're just little visual things. And then, you know, we'll get rid of most of these boxes, maybe put a pile of boxes here, maybe a little bit of piping, but nothing too much. And then you can see stuff in the background, maybe there's piles of boxes in the background, in the far background, and stuff like that. And then kind of go through each section of the stage and say, okay, well, what are we going to do with this section? Or what's this? Maybe this is like a pipe room. We'll put a lot of pipes in here, but we won't put any pipes in here, to kind of like diversify the background elements and stuff. And things like that, and go through and just kind of reimagine the level and add more stuff to it. And that's the process that I want to take. So that's what we're going to do. We're basically going to re-examine the entire level, kind of put some purpose onto each section of the level, and redraw things with this in mind. Like, this floor looks cool, right? We want to use that floor. That kind of looks neat, but we want to be a little more sensible with it, where like, I don't know, is this supposed to be a 4? Maybe we could turn this into something else. Or this room doesn't have this pattern in it, only like this room and like these rooms have that pattern. And kind of make things a little more cleaned up and distinct. You know, be like, why is the 4 going under the wall here? Is this... For some people, they would think, oh, is that a hidden wall then? Can I get through here somehow? This looks like maybe I could destroy it. Because the 4 keeps going. You know, or subconsciously they may think that that's a little strange, so let's just clean this up. Let's not have the 4 go into here like the original game did, you know, and sort of not really reimagine, but just sort of reapply the same kind of shapes and imagery in just different ways throughout the level. And that's basically what I meant by saying that, you know, we weren't satisfied with exactly how it came out, and we want to sort of like redo a lot of the stuff here. And that's what we're going to do next. So instead of moving on to a new level, we're going to redo this one, and then you'll really see the difference when that gets put through. So that's the next step right now. Remake, you say? Yeah, remake. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's such vague vocabulary, right? For this kind of stuff. You know, if I say reimagine, people think, oh, you're gonna completely rethink the entire level and everything's gonna be completely different. And it's like, no, not really. It's not quite what we're doing. Yeah, I don't know. Remake, remaster. What would you call it? It's all pretty nebulous. So yeah, that's where we're going with that. And I think, oh yes, and we've been starting to implement using the LDTK. Let me see if I can pull that up. So here, this thing, the LDTK, the people from Dead Cells made this, and basically, like, about? No, it doesn't really show it. Don't they? Oh yeah, here's stuff down here. So it's like a level editor, basically, because Unreal's level editor for 2D stuff is complete garbage. I hate to say, but it is very infuriating to work with. And so we're basically in the middle of implementing how to take this stuff from the LDTK and put that in there. So we'll be able to leverage most of the features, at least, of this kind of stuff. Now, unfortunately, it does not have Unreal as a supported platform. So I'm getting help with that. AJ is putting in a lot of work to get this working in Unreal, and he's already made big headway on it. So that's exciting. Tim's excited because he's not very used to Unreal yet. He's definitely doesn't like the tile map like I don't. So Tim's real happy that we're going to be using this. So he's been checking it out. It also has some like Sprite support and stuff like that. So all around good move for us to do this, and we'll see where that takes us. It should make doing the levels much easier. And that's the kind of stuff, like I said, when we're transitioning out of the prototype stage, we got to think now, okay, we had trouble with Unreal's tile editor. What are we going to do? We're going to, go ahead and make plans and start integrating a different thing to make life easier. So that's pretty much how that stuff goes. Reskin. Yeah, it's a reskin. It's not a reskin. Get out of here. Unreal can be very demanding and absurdly demanding on the assets, depth, and optimization. That's actually one thing that I've noticed. The optimization of this build is actually pretty bad. I tried to put this on Steam Deck just to see if it would work, and it is not great. It's not good. It's very stuttery. But I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's weird because the game And the Steam Deck report said it's running at 60 FPS, but it's absolutely not. Like, I can just tell looking at it. I'm like, there's no way this is actually running at 60 FPS. So I'm not sure what that means. If maybe the rendering operations are taking too long, and then it's got to wait till the next frame, and it drops the previous frame because it didn't finish in time, or the next frame gets skipped because it didn't finish in time. I'm not really sure. However, a part of the issue is probably that the entire level is literally running all at once. Like, if I turn this on, if I do F8, right? If I do F8, you can see everything's running all at the same time, all the animations. They've got like a couple hundred at least animated tiles. The moving floor is automatically moving, and like, I'm just in the first room. So all this stuff is running, and I figured that that's probably part of the issue. So we can solve some of that with the LDTK, because you can split things up into rooms. So now I've got to figure out, be like, okay, we're only going to load the room that we're currently in until we touch the border between the rooms, and then when it transitions, we activate the new room, transition, deactivate the old room. And, hello! Oh, it's Orangey this time! Hi, Orangey! What are you doing? No, don't knock over my lamp. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Let's see the people. Oh, big boy! Oh, he's a big boy. He's a big fat boy. Hello, Orangey. Say hi to the people. What you doing? Hi. Yeah? What you doing? Big fat boy. What you doing? He doesn't come up to this room very often, and I'm not sure why. When I'm downstairs, this guy won't leave me alone. He's crawling all over me, getting in my lap, flopping around, wanting belly rubs. He does not like this room for some reason. He doesn't show up very often. Yeah? Yeah. That's a good boy. What are you doing? Oh, you want down? What do you want to do? Oh, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? You want down? Okay. Just don't stay away from my lamp. Don't knock my lamp over. Yeah? I don't know, I haven't figured out why he doesn't like it up here. He rarely comes up to visit. Jimmy comes up all the time, but I don't know. That draw distance, yeah. People make this mistake a lot, professionals do. Making everything in the level just kind of like there. I don't know if it's actually rendering everything. It is one giant tile map, so the black border you see here around it, I kind of roughly drew that around where the tile map borders are. The problem is with Unreal is once you make the tile map a certain size, you can only really make it bigger, but not really smaller, and you can't shift anything easily. So it's really hard. So for testing purposes, because I knew this build wasn't going anywhere, and like my computer is pretty beefy, because the last one died, and I knew I had to switch to Unreal stuff, so I had to go a little hard on the specs on this computer. So I'm like, oh, excuse me, if it's not optimized right now, that's fine, because like nobody's playing it right now. We can figure out how to optimize some stuff later. So just to get the trailer done and all that, I just threw everything into one giant tile map, which I don't even know. I don't know, because it's one tile map, does it try to render everything all at once? I'm not sure if it's optimized or not to not bother trying to render all the tiles that you can't see. I really don't know. But either way, that's all going to get cut down because we're just going to load per room now. And the LDTK lets you split things into rooms. I think they call the collection of rooms a world, and then each one is a map or something. So you would just do one at a time. Like, I don't know if it actually shows here. Yeah, like here. This might be just one room here. But it's connected to everything else. So it's kind of like segregated in its own little environment. And then, so the ideal thing would be, oh, all the enemy spawners and stuff will not be active, you know, while you're not in this room. Unfortunately, right now they are all active. You can't see them here. Let me stop it, because then you can see where I placed them, these little white squares. These are the enemy spawners. So these are the ones that drop crates. And then this one's a bird. I can tell just because where they're placed, but you can also check here. Here's the file that it spawns from. And then this is the GSQ. These enemy names are crazy. I can't remember them half the time. This one's the Chunko. That's the bird. This is like the trash spitter. This is another bird. This is the chainsaw is what it's called. The thing that runs back and forth. You know, here's Tamp, the one that teleports. But all these spawners are constantly checking for the player position to figure out if you're close enough for them to spawn or not. And yeah, so I'm sure that that's not helping. For sure, you're right. I'm sure that's not helping. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff we can do, but just for the sake of time that I didn't end up doing. So it will get better. We're making massive steps forward to make sure that it's going to be optimized, at least as much as we can. I know Unreal is at base level a little bit heavier than other engines, from what I understand. So we'll do what we can, and we'll do as many things as we can to make this hopefully run on potatoes. I mean, that's the goal. It's a game that looks like it shouldn't have trouble running on a potato, so you know, we want to make that happen. Yeah, you can turn things off. So the updates are called ticks. You can turn an object like this, you can just turn it off. You can just turn its tick right off, which is I don't know if it's in here. No, maybe the setting's not in here, but you can do it in code. And that's how I do actually spawn enemies, and then I don't delete them or destroy them. I actually make them inactive, and I hide the graphics, so you turn visibility off, and then you turn the tick off, and then that stops them from processing, and it stops them from being shown in the world. There's a little more complicated than that, but that's the basic idea. And then when I call them again, this square object will be like, hey, I need a bird enemy. If there isn't one, we're going to make one, but if there is one, just an active lying around, I'm going to move it over here, and then turn it back on, and that's part of an efficiency system here. Let's see. Use Unreal for a Mega Man project is like using a rifle to kill an ant. Yes, in some ways. In some ways, that's true. It really is taking the Ferrari and just driving it around the parking lot in many ways. That's very true. But this is what happens when the engine that is perfect for your kind of game, aka Unity, kind of decides to not be great anymore. Let's see. What I've seen people work around it. So having two boxes, one being the viewport and a large one that enables NPCs when they enter it. That's sort of what I do. So the camera here, this is actually a scene capture. It's not a full camera. The object, this player camera tracker, this is the thing that's actually looking for. Now this runtime list system is something that I made. It does not come with Unreal, but basically I can subscribe objects to a list, and then anything with the list can look at it and say, oh, where is this object, and or take an average of all objects on the list and stuff. But in this case, the player camera tracker is what these spawners track. So they actually track the screen position, and not so much like Mega Man himself. Yeah, enemy spawn proximity. Wait, so what object? Wait, hold on. What object is that on now? But I didn't see that in the list. There's the player list. Yeah, that one's camera tracker. Is there another? Is the scene capture? Oh, the scene capture, I bet someone that has it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. The enemy spawn proximity list. So the scene capture component itself, or not component, but the actor here. They call game objects actors in Unreal. And that's the one that has the spawn proximity list. So it registers this object, and all the spawners are like, okay, we're gonna look at that list, and we're gonna see, you know, is there anything in that list that's close enough to us that we would consider spawning? And essentially, it follows the camera around in practice. So, and they will despawn too if you walk away. So he's here, and he's coming this way, and then you might actually be able to see the moment where he flips out of existence. No, he might be too small to see it. But there he is. You know, let me go later in the level. You can probably see the Soshi breakers. Those are those trash breakers, where they smash the trash object. You can probably see them blipping out of existence. If I can get through. Let's go! I'm not gonna make it! Let me pop out, thank you. Okay, he didn't soft lock. Sometimes he'll soft lock there if he gets crushed. This guy. So yeah. See, he just blanks out of existence. You can actually see him disappear close to the screen border. I gotta make it a little more advanced so that it takes the width of the character into consideration. And then, so he won't despawn right away. And I think you should give it a little bit of distance. So if like an enemy is following you and it slightly goes off screen, it should still be able to remain in the world and continue to like try to chase you or whatever. But yeah, it's primitive right now, but you know, it's a prototype, so it is what it is. This guy, yeah, you can kind of see him at the edge of the border there, just kind of blip out. The projectiles too, they'll also do that. We might actually be able to even see this in real time. Oh geez, these things don't even stop. That's funny. That's an oversight. They should despawn. Well, you saw the bird despawn. Can I move the controller here? No. I thought these things would though. I bet the things that explode from them probably do though. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, see, they despawn once they're away from the camera far enough. And these things too. But again, they're not being destroyed and recreated. They're being deactivated and then, you know, respawned in the location that they need to. So there you go. That's how that works. What a speed run. Yeah. A speed run. Hey, you can't beat my time. I have the debug options. You won't. Try to beat that. I'm the best player of this game in the world. I'm actually not too bad at it. Some people, when they saw the trailer, they're like, bro, it's just a trailer. Why are you going so hard? Like speed running the thing. And honestly, the truth was that we had to get the footage under like 1 minute and 50 seconds to get everything in the footage in there, because Twitter doesn't let you go over like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we needed time for the title and the you know, the projects on Game Jolt screen and all that stuff. So I actually had to like really book it. I had to retake that probably like 6 times to get a run that's fast enough to be in the footage and also like, you know, not getting hit and stuff, because right now there's no collision. So like it would look weird if I get hit by something and nothing happened. So I had to do a perfect run. So it was pretty funny though. Only 6 takes, not bad. Yeah, I guess. I'm so used to playing the original. Well, that's not the original. That's Mega Man 7, but I'm so used to playing the original, and this one's so laid out almost exactly the same, so like I kind of have a bit of practice, I guess, on that. Koi's brother here, looking forward to this and love seeing his artwork. Yeah, I saw your comment. I don't know if it was on YouTube, but yeah, so hi. Koi's an amazing person, honestly. So if you don't know, Koi's the one that did the art here on the side with Terra and Mega Man, and then like for the Game Jolt site, he did the other like roles there and Rush and all that. Yeah, Koi's a wonderful person to work with. He's so optimistic and happy all the time. It's incredible. I love to have him here. He's doing a lot. Like, yeah, he did the promo art stuff, but like the main bulk of the work that he's doing is all behind the scenes stuff. So like he's gonna really be ramping up here now that, like I said, we're remaking the stage to be not just like the same graphics as the original, but to kind of like say, okay, what's this room gonna be like? Is this a big expansive room, or is this like a corridor or something? And that's Koi's job. He's kind of the creative brain behind that, to be like, okay, you know, it would be cool if this room was like this, or maybe it opens up and you see a far background of something, you know, in the background. And it's his job to kind of sketch that out and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna put a building here, or pipes here, or you know, crates here, or whatever. And he's got to do it for all the stages. That like I guess we're a fan project, so we're not like official, but I guess his like official title is concept artist, and that's kind of like what they do. They're just like, hey, we've got this kind of conveyor belt thing in the original. What is that going to look like when we you know, do the remake version of it? And so that's kind of like his primary job, to be like, okay, this is how it's going to look. Now let's try this and try that. And then he can also draw like line art. So like if we need a big, like on the character select screen, when you select the boss, the drawing will be in pixel art, but he'll do the underlying sketch and kind of test out, okay, what if the character's looking at this way, or he's got this expression, or this expression, or whatever. And that's his job, and it's really cool. And hey, man, he can just bang him out too. He got a lot of experience. Like, just, I don't know what fully he's done so far, you know, like in his career, but like he can really bang that stuff out. So it's a pleasure working with Koi. He's very easy to work with too. He's very laid back kind of guy, kind of just, he's chill. He's good to be around. Mark's the kind of guy whose perfect Mega Man game is the one where you can't get hit. Well, right now you can't, but you will. You will definitely. You are all awesome, and this game is going to be great. I love the pixel style in the 7 vein. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, it's a pleasure to have Koi on the ride here. Wondering something, will there be a Proto Man role in base mode? Yeah, get the stretch goal for additional characters. Well, we don't want to like promise the world. We don't want to be like, oh, there's gonna be like 12 playable characters. You go play as every boss, and you're gonna have all this stuff, because realistically, that's not a goal that we can really hit. It's like I said at the beginning, our estimate, if things go smoothly, which they never do, but if things go relatively smoothly, our estimate, it's like around 2 years to complete everything that we want to put into the game. And that does not include additional characters at this point. So it's already a mountain of work, and just getting the Mega Man playable, you know, and getting through all the stages is going to be enough of a pain, even without additional characters. So I'm not going to promise any of that. And so base was not created potentially at this point in the timeline, so that one's probably definitely out, unless we just say, oh, it's AU timeline shenanigans, whatever. Playable Auto. No, Auto was also not created until Mega Man 7. And that is my reminder to take my pills, which I've already taken, so I forgot to turn it off though. I take them early on today, so I don't have to stop the stream for it. I don't know if you're gonna do a Terra stage as a bonus stage. We talked about that a little bit. I don't think that Terra stage is worthy of an entire full stage, and the reason I say that is because in that part of the story, Mega Man thinks that he's kind of like one. He's like, okay, we took basically everyone down, we shut down all the space bases, there's kind of like nothing left, and then Terra just kind of rolls up on him. I feel like that should really probably just stay as a boss. But the Dark Moon, the stage with Dark Moon is also just a boss stage, but it actually has a location. Like there's a whole spaceport that things are happening at. That one I think we can turn into a whole stage. And then adding an intro stage, because all the Mega Mans have them now, and I think it's a good idea. I think it would be nice to see all, like, the events of the intro can be put into the intro stage, so it can be this action-packed, you know, melded with the narrative, and, you know, Mega Man getting defeated right away, and stuff at the end of the intro stage. So that's the kind of stuff that we want to add. You know, there's not a lot of final stages. There's kind of like one big long final stage at the end. We want to break that up and do stuff. So that's the kind of stuff we're thinking about. Let's see. Playable Beck from the future? No, Mighty Number 9. What do you think about versus mode? That would be a real pie in the sky. That would be really hard to do. I would say do not expect that. Both the complexity of adding all those playable characters potentially. Like, would you just have Mega Man and Terra, or would everybody want like all the bosses? I think that one would be a bit much. Technically possible, but it would be so low priority that I think we'd end up, you know, if we're gonna cut something, that would be like one of the first things. Yeah, it is between Mega Man 5 and 6 on the NES. So now Base potentially could have been started because he must have been worked on and finished either during or just before Mega Man 6. Because as you can see, there's the cutscene has been playing here in the background. Wily went to jail at the end of 6, so he could not have made Base between 6 and 7. He was locked up. And he gets broken out in the intro stage of 7, but Base is in the intro stage. It's not like he went and made Base in like 2 minutes by the time you get there and then Base shows up. Like, he must have already been made. So I guess there's some wiggle room there. I don't know, but don't expect Base or Roll or Proto Man or any of that stuff. If something like that happens, treat it as a pleasant surprise. But it's definitely, if we do anything like that, it's definitely going to be after the original game, or not the original, but the initial game releases with all the levels and stuff. So we'll see how we feel at that point. I think in some ways, at least Proto Man makes a lot of sense to have a Proto Man mode. But I'm just trying not to really even think about that, because you could get distracted planning all of that stuff, and that eats up time for you of actually making part of the game. So I don't know, we'll see. Real devs add a playable Wily. Oh yeah, like Mega Man Soccer? Yeah, those are real devs. We had playable Wily there. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My wife's in chat. My wife senses tingling. Take your pills. I took them. I took the pills already. I took them before I went on. If everyone wants to see Beck in the game, then I want to see Gravity Circuit. Just joking. They'd probably have a better... You'd have an easier time convincing me of putting the Gravity Circuit guy in there than you would convincing me to put Beck in there. For sure. Don't expect them, but, you know, just saying. Use the robot tournament to gather funds and parts, probably, and working on base while Mega Man is busy fighting the robot masters. Hey, maybe? It's not really specified as far as I know. There's no real official answer as to exactly when base was made. So, I don't know, somewhere. Somewhere in there. Feature creep is a thing. No shame on keeping development focused. Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Because, yeah, I mean, you could say, oh, we're going to have 10 playable characters, and it's like, well, we got 2 done, and only half the stages are done, and now we ran out of time, or, like, people have moved on, or it's been, like, 5 years and no one cares anymore. Like, it can really end that way, and that's why I don't want to do that. Puppy Treble. Because he's young? Yeah, Puppy Treble. That would be actually very funny. I'd rather have Gunbolt or Jason. Who's Jason? Is that the Gravity Circuit guy? I don't know. I actually haven't played Gravity Circuit. I've seen footage of it though. It looks cool. It definitely inspired by like the Game Boy Color ones. Oh, Jason from Blaster Master! Oh, you're right, you're right. Blaster Master would be kind of weird though, right? I don't know. At least Gunvolt has some connection to Mega Man, but either way, you're not likely to see it. You can do everything if you put it on the blockchain. No. I'm trying to get my brother to join TAT, but he's actually working on art for the project as we speak. I'm trying. Yeah, that's fine. If Corey wants to drop in, that'd be great. Put our robot vacuum son Ernie in. Yeah, we found this like super discount robot vacuum, so we got it, and it's actually pretty cool. Now it has its limitations, and you know, like. We got the real cheap version, so like you can't put it around stairs, it'll just fall down the stairs. Like it's not that smart. But it seems to make its way around the room somewhat in kind of like a random algorithm. It just runs for a couple hours, and it does a pretty good job of like, you know, the day-to-day sweeping that you would do, it would take care of that, you know, and then you might have to run the edges of a room every once in a while, but it's actually really helpful. But don't slander him. but it's really good actually. He does get clogged up. Like the cats have little toys sometimes that it'll get stuck in there and I gotta pull it out. But it's actually, I'd rather do that than like sweep the whole house, so he's actually really, really helpful. He ate a cord of mini LED lights just now. I fixed him. He's charging. Wait, where did the LED lights come from? It's fine. Yeah, you gotta make sure there's like no cords that are like, you know, around where he can get, and then there's no like little like string or stuff like that. That'll really get jammed up in there. But yeah, it's pretty funny. But we named him Ernie. No, we just answered that! There's no plans to add Roller Proto Man. I want to keep the development very focused. I want to actually make sure that we get a game out and not get sidetracked on adding 50 playable characters and then like never finishing. That's a short answer. So we're at least going to get Mega Man and all the stages out, and at that point, if we feel like adding something, then maybe. If we don't, then we won't. I don't know where they came from. I don't know. Like, I've got a little LED strip back here. That's how the orange light. That's the only one that I know of. I don't know. Well, hey, you found more LEDs. Cool. Maybe I can hang them up or something. The Gravity Circuit protagonist is called Kai. Okay, fair enough. Brush Tango beat Eddie and Ernie, the Dream Team. Well, I can confirm at least that we're gonna add, well, not add, but like, you know, the original has Rush and Tango. I do want to add Beat and Eddie, even if it's just, you know, characters in the background. Like, I've got the already, hold on, what's the, Control P is the play, yeah. I've got Beat in the, oh, don't do that. All right, here. I do have Beat here. I like this. When they remade the PlayStation, or they remade the NES games and put them on PlayStation, and not remade, but they ported them, but they were enhanced ports or whatever. They added some little navigation things, which I think in some cases were a little redundant, or it's like, oh, there's a ladder, and it's like, go up the ladder. It's like, yeah, obviously it's a ladder. But there were other ones where it's like, yeah, actually there is like a split path here. So it could be helpful to signify that. Or in this case, in this room, right? This pit is death. Going down means death. So if you're not super experienced with Mega Man games, you might think, okay, this room's a dead end. I can't jump down here because pits mean death. And then maybe, you know, they start fiddling around here and be like, well, where's the door? I think it would be a little helpful to just have Beat here to be like, oh, go down the chute. Okay, all right. And at that point, you know, you can go down this chute. And then, you know, you're going down until you get here. And then I think the smart thing here is to keep the spikes. Because you've been told that you should drop down 3-4 screens now. But if there's no spikes here, if this is just a pit, you might think, oh, well, okay. This is just a pit. Well, I can go down because I've gone down all the other screens. So you put the spikes here to be very explicit about, no, if you go down here, you're dead. And go on. So I think if you use it in that way, I think it can just be a fun little thing, a fun little extra of just like, hey, Beat's here. I would also like to put Beat in as an item. Spikes are a grinder, yeah. We were talking about having a trash grinder down there instead of spikes to make it a little more... and that's what I mean about like reimagining the stages a little bit. You could say, oh, this is a wall of spikes and a conveyor belt is pushing you towards it. Well, that's probably a trash grinder, right? And then you can just draw a trash grinder and put them in the corner. Hey, it's Koi! Hey, you made it! Hey, buddy! But yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm here. I'm a little sick today, but I'm here. I'm pushing through it. Not too bad. Actually, I do feel better today than I have for the last couple days, but I do still feel kind of drained, I guess. But the stream gives me life, so I guess it balances out. I don't know. Gonna add the navigator messages like the Complete Works and the collection. Yeah, so in the Complete Works games, you actually, in what they call Navi Mode, you could actually get hints about how to complete a room or combat certain enemies or fight the boss or whatever. I don't know if I want to go that far, where the game will tell you everything in every room, but I think it would be interesting, and maybe it could be like a shop upgrade, that you can get some hints about the stage. Like maybe you can go to the pause menu and you can call Roll Up and be like, hey, you got a tip for me? And she'll be like, oh, in this stage there's a lot of tricky conveyor belt crap going on, and you know, and the boss, you know, does these weird things. You know, maybe you could sort of buy the hints with the in-game shop. I think that would be kind of interesting. I guess I'd question exactly how useful that would be, but I don't know. It's in the back of my mind at least. And I do want to give more like chances for side characters to show up, like Roll and stuff. Do you remember the first Mega Man X? You could actually get different info about the stage. You could see the map or the boss. You could get stats about the boss, what their name is, a little bit about them, like what the location is, and like where on the map it is, or more of a view of what the stage looks like. things like that are the things that are kind of sitting in the back of my mind of how I want to do that kind of stuff. Kind of be like, oh, well, maybe we could add that to the character screen, and you know, Dr. Light or Roll or somebody could be like, hey, oh no, it looks like this guy's taken over this recycle facility. You know, just kind of give you a little more context as to what these stages are, and just a little flavor text. I think it would be nice. You know, things like that. I'm always trying to think about ways to integrate more of the side characters, because the original game didn't really do much of that. Dr. Light showed up, but that was it. Roll showed up in the intro for like 5 seconds and didn't show up for the rest of the game. So I'd like to change that for sure. Let's see. So, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, +1 follow for you by yours truly. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know I don't even have like alerts set up yet. I'm so bare bones because we just moved into this place, and I have the bare minimum equipment set up, and it's we'll get there. Each week I try to put one more thing. Like you might notice that the microphone sounds a little better this week, and we'll put up a couple more figures or whatever. So each week I'm trying to do something to sort of evolve everything. Maybe a Navi Mode in a normal game so people can choose which mode they play or turn it on or off, like X5 Improvement Project. Yeah, that's why I feel like if it's a shop item, then that would probably solve that, I guess. So you can buy it if you want to buy it, and if you don't want it, you can spend your chips on something else. But I do definitely like the option. I wouldn't shove it down your throat for sure. I wouldn't want to force to have it always pop up. Definitely not like X5 where it just pops up on its own. But at the very minimum, have some kind of icon on the top that lets you know that there's information. Or you just choose to go to the pause screen and then select it whenever you want. I think it could have 3 functions. One to tell you what the stage gimmick is, and a caution. One to inform you that there's any hidden items to be found, and in the boss hallway, a hint for the boss's weakness. Yeah, I agree with that, and that was another thing that I was thinking about. You could maybe buy something that will tell you that there's still hidden items in a stage, because X3 did that. Once you got the head armor, when you got on the stage select screen, it would show there were usually like 3 items in each stage, and if you didn't get it, it would be question marks. But if you did get it, it'll tell you what the name of what you found is. I figured that that would be a good thing that you could buy in the shop too. So it's kind of like the item scanner or something, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to put in there. Something like Roll's radio transmitter from Mega Man and Bass. Yeah, essentially. That's what I was saying, like if you go to the pause menu and to do it like that. I feel like that one wasn't too useful in Mega Man and Bass. I'd like to at least make it a little more useful, but it's definitely something to consider. Let's see. Hope to see Sunstar very soon. We're probably going to be developing the stages in kind of order, so you probably won't see until the end. Hint, this boss doesn't like salt water. Yeah, oh man, salt water. I still can't believe they called that weapon salt water. It's the most innocuous sounding thing. Yeah, I'm gonna get him with salt water. Yeah, we want to do a lot with Sunstar. What I want to do as a basic idea is, because they did like the rematches and then you fight Wily and then you fight Sunstar in the original, right? So I want to take the rematches in Wily and make them their stage, and then separate Sunstar's into its own stage. Like, kind of like at the end of Mega Man 2, there's a little hallway, you walk to the hallway and then you get to the last fight. Something like that. It's a very small, like 2 screens of whatever, and then you get to the fight, you know, the cutscene and the fight. But that will let us take Sunstar instead of him being the final form after like 16 fights, you can go ham with him now because you got a whole break there. There's a stage gap, so you can go back to the shop, you can get your items, you can, you know, pump up on lives, get all your E-tanks, get everything ready. But if you just fight one form of Sunstar and that's it, that's not going to cut it. So now we can take Sunstar and make him way more elaborate, give him multiple phases, and make something a bit more epic, if you will, out of that fight. Because I feel like it kind of ends a little too quickly in the original. It really doesn't last very long, and I definitely want to change that. So, exactly. Mega Man 2.5D had something like that in the final stage. You would go after Wily to face the final boss. Yeah. Sunstar is a pretty cool looking character. He is! He is. There's definitely things that we can take, like the Gigamix, Mega Man Gigamix manga that featured the Star Droids. I think that was the one, right, where he had... You couldn't see his face at first. Like, you almost had, like, energy spilling out of the helmet. You know, you could do cool stuff like that. Maybe that could be one of the forms. Either, like, that's how you first see him. He's more intimidating. And then after you beat that form, that sort of dissipates, and then you can actually see his face. And then, you know, you go to, like, Form 2 and stuff. I love to do stuff like that. I think that would be really great. Yeah, Koi in chat, he's a concept artist on the project here. So, little context there. Yeah, what was that? Was that from the Mega Man and base? The little CD info? Did it have something about brushing his teeth in there? That's actually pretty funny. Those profiles are pretty funny. A robot that likes beautiful teeth. Really? Did it actually say that? That's weird, man. It's somewhat incredible, but also weird. Yeah, there's a lot we got planned, and that's why I said, you know, now that we looked at all the stuff that we want to add, we were looking at about 2 years of development time easily to get everything, assuming that nothing goes catastrophically wrong. But that makes sense, you know, when we're adding a couple stages and, you know, shifting some stuff around, adding more boss forms and stuff. Sunstar himself likes to brush your teeth and make them look, or his teeth and make them look nice. Okay, I'll believe it. I'll believe it. I love how the game looks. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do too. I actually think it came out looking better than I honestly expected for the prototype. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, right now we're transitioning from the prototype and then starting to research the stuff that we need to add, things that will help us, you know, tools like the level editor we looked at a little earlier. Which I don't know. But this one? Yeah, this one, the TLDK. So we're implementing this to make levels easier to build, and this is kind of the last stop for major research before we start like really seriously getting into building final versions of things in the game. The CDs reveal Mercury as a communist. I've heard that. And it's very funny. I don't understand. I don't know, is it a joke? Is it like a pun on like a Japanese word pun or something? I don't understand it, but it is kind of funny. So I have no idea. But I was thinking of what Sunstar's copy weapon should be. A chargeable weapon that instantly shoots a beam across the screen. No charge would be a thin weak beam. It would have 2 levels of charge. And the second one being as wide as Mega Man is tall. Well, you know what? let's just take a little look at something here that I think you'll like. Let's see, I just reorganized all this. Characters. Probably still on here. I wonder why I made this animation. Gee, I wonder what that could be for. Already thought of it. Yeah, I based it. There was an unused animation in the Power Fighters. It was either I'm not sure if it was Power Battle or Power Fighters. One of them had this unused animation, so we fixed it up. It looked like it was kind of like half complete, so we fixed it up a little bit and put it in here. So yeah, it's ready to go. Absolutely, I want New Game Plus, and I always wanted to thinking exactly the same thing. What would happen if you got Sunstar's weapon? And I think his most iconic weapon is the beam, the big beam that he charges up and shoots out. And yep, so yeah, we're in sync. We're thinking the same thing. Yeah, I think it should be just like a big Shinku Hadoken. Again, like you said, it probably should be a charge move. Like maybe you have to charge it fully to even use it, but it would just do a lot of damage. Probably kill most normal enemies outright. But it would be a New Game Plus only thing. So it's just kind of to have fun with it and just roll with it. Definitely want to add that. That's one of the things I wanted to add in, a bonus. Power Fighters is what had the alt charge attacks. Yeah, so Power Fighters, the arcade game, gave him the Shoryuken in-game. As far as I'm aware, the Hadoken is completely unused. You hold up and you could do the Shoryuken with Mega Man, and I think they were all holding up. Like Base had Flash Kick, and Predaman had just a big short-range attack, and Duo had like a launching uppercut. He didn't launch off the ground like a Shoryuken, he just kind of bumped you in the air, and then you could do extra damage and stuff. It was pretty neat. That was definitely part of what made me think about using this. Duo had unused sprites with him doing the dunk. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he had one where he did like the hammer fist. But I guess it went completely unused, huh? I do remember seeing that on the sprite sheet. Yeah, there's a lot of time to think about how exactly this move's gonna end up coming out, but yeah, definitely been thinking about that, because I really do feel that Sunstar's most iconic move is that charge beam. I did this pose too, but I did this one for fun. I actually don't have anything in mind for shooting anything downward. I just thought it was a neat pose, so I converted it with the other stuff. I've been moving all the sprites into like sprite animation files, so some of them haven't been transferred yet because they haven't been used in the build, but yeah, this was his Power Fighters victory pose, but we made a different one. Hold on. Dinner's giving me trouble, man. We made a different one, but it must have been put in an animation file somewhere because it's not on the sheet anymore. But you'll notice a lot of the remaining ones are like him without the arm, because when the mega arm gets shot out, he will go back to his normal animations, but I need to make sure that the arm's not there. But I haven't put that in yet. I think a lot of people haven't noticed that. His arm actually reappears before it comes back. Yeah, it's not a Shoryuken by name. Yeah, it's called Mega Upper, but yeah, it's what he has in Marvel vs. Capcom essentially as well. I think he just says upper in that one, but yeah, it is. I think he actually says mega upper in Power Fighters. So you're right about that. Oh, and here's the conversion process. Take the arcade sprites and then bring them here. Some of the shading changed between them. Like you'll notice the helmet is brighter here, it's darker here. So I took all those changes and put them there. Oh, and the green eyes, by the way, is just to keep the eyes separate, because what we did was we made them blue. Where are palettes? Default. So if I apply his in-game palette, you see they're actually blue. Get a little color there. Where neither, excuse me, neither 7 nor the arcade had that, but we thought it was a nice touch. They had the eye color, but we might not want the eye color to change while he's charging, so we put it on different palette indexes to make sure that they're completely separate, so that they don't get confused, and we can change the colors separately in game. The stream background music is great. Yeah, it's a lot of the tracks from the Complete Works, when they took the NES games and put them on PlayStation, they gave them like remix soundtracks. That's what most of these are. Or from like the arcade games, which was all released around the same era. So yeah, I love it. I love that era of Mega Man music. Let's see. Maybe do the Hadouken movement, but not the double hand, instead of doing the Buster pose movement from the sprites. I don't know, maybe. There's a long time. This is going to be one of the final things added to the game, so it's going to be a while before that's actually in. So there's time to think about what exactly it's going to do. But I felt like it was the most appropriate thing given Sunstar's giant beam weapon. But yeah, I still have to transfer these animations with him without the arm and stuff. The coding to support, you know, showing the different animations, like, is all there. It just didn't have time enough to put that into the prototype. So that'll be done probably relatively soon, as we start to like pick out the pieces of stuff that in the prototype that were good, and then just kind of start reprogramming things in a fresh project. And speaking of fresh project, I still have to show you guys how to do the correct color correction. So this might be a good segue into that, and that's what this image is for. So let me put that on the other monitor, and let me turn that off. So we're just gonna close this. I'm gonna do this in a completely new project file. So let's just open Unreal. 5.4. I haven't tried that yet. The new engine. I've still been using 5.3. I've downloaded 5.4, but I haven't actually done anything in it yet. So yeah, let's just make a new project file to show this off. I appreciate that. I think everybody here is very talented. I'm very happy with everybody's contributions. Alright, so we're just gonna make a new one here. So here's the problem. When you put sprites into Unreal, they look like garbage. The colors are all wrong. Like the lighting system is going wild on them, and you have to turn that stuff off manually. And it was something that I researched and I could not find a proper answer to. So I had to basically just kind of figure it out. And thankfully, having complained about it has also gotten people thinking about it too. So I guess sometimes it's good to complain, right? Let's see, not recent, let's just say a new game, right? A new blank project. Because we don't want we don't want anything else right now. We're just doing a lighting example. So I'll just select blueprint for now, and this is all fine. And I'm just gonna do sprite color test. So I'll show you what I figured out, so that from now on, there are no excuses. Any Unreal project in 2D better have the proper colors for your sprites. You are all on watch now. I'm giving you the answer for free. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is to fly to the center of the world here. Can we? Oh my god, it's gonna take forever. Yeah, okay, we're gonna fly to the center of the world, and we're just going to, well, we're gonna slow down now. And we're gonna put some sprites in the world, and we'll see, you know, we'll see how garbo it looks when you do it without correcting anything. So go to content drawer, I'm gonna pull up my desktop, and I'm gonna drag in that, oh, I don't wanna drag it here, not here. We wanna put it here, just for example's sake. So here's our texture. We've imported it. It's just this image. Got a couple sprites on it, and we will see that the sprites will look like garbage when we put them into the scene. First, we're going to apply the Paper 2D texture settings. If you don't have Paper 2D there, you might have to download the plugin and install it. It's basically Unreal's two-dimensional sprite support, I guess. And then now we right-click it and we create a sprite out of it. And there's our sprite. So, excuse me. I think we can just add a sprite here. Usually I'll just make a blueprint for it. That's kind of the proper way you should do this. I'll make an actor and just call it BP sprite test. And then I have two monitors, so I gotta drag stuff in and out so you guys can see this here. We're just gonna add a simple sprite with paper sprite with Paper 2D. And then we're just gonna select the sprite here. And there's our stuff. It looks probably mostly correct, but if you take a closer look, the contrast on Mega Man here is not quite right. The colors are distorted. So if we look at them side by side, you know, you'll notice that there's some wonky stuff going on here that they don't, oh, where'd it go? Here it is. There's some wonky stuff here. The contrast is higher, the blues don't quite look right, they're different. The face looks brighter for some reason, and here, like, you can really tell if you take like a snapshot here and then like paste it in, you can really tell that it's not the same. You can even, like, if you take this and this is the same color here, we pulled this color here, you can tell this is not the same. So Unreal is doing some weird god-awful things to your sprite work. It's changing the colors, and we can't have that. That's not good. So here's how you fix all that. So one, let's just bump this up here. And I also want to get this icon to go away because it's annoying. So there, you just get a new scene, and you can just replace the scene root, the default scene root, with that new scene, and then that icon goes away. So I always do that because I find it very annoying. We're going to save and compile that. We'll keep this up on the tab just so we can fiddle with it if we need to. And here, we'll just take this BP sprite test, and then, oh my god, look at that. Look, he's all blown out. The light's hitting them. I'm trying to get close here. I'm trying to slow the camera down so I can get close. Look at this. It's all blown out. The lighting system's killing all the pixels. Look what they did to my boy. It's awful. Yeah, we don't want that. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get him slightly. I don't want him like in the ground, but I want him to look like they're standing there. Yeah. Yeah, that's bad, man. That's garbo, right? You do not want that. So, okay, first things first. You want to make sure you pay attention to what sprite material you have, you want the unlit one first of all. There might be a lit one in here somewhere. Yeah, there's a lit sprite material, and that even takes even more color information from like the lighting and stuff. But you don't want that. If you want to preserve the colors, you want to make sure first of all that it's unlit. So there's no lighting hitting it. Now Unreal is processing the light coming from here anyway, even though you told it not to with the unlit, but there's more things we need to do. So we'll get there. We'll get there. It's a process. So the next thing we need to do, we basically correct it through post-processing. You can set post-processing options for your camera in Unreal. So we want to... volumes. I think it's volumes. I'm doing this off the cuff, so sorry if I'm looking around here for a minute. I'm pretty sure it's a post-processing volume. Yeah. So now look, we've got all these options here that we can fiddle around with, and that's how we're going to correct this. So first thing though, we want to tell it that, because see this little box here? You see this little outline of a box? That's the only place that this is going to take effect, is when we're like inside the box. Like if the camera's inside the box, then those settings take effect. But we want to tell it to span the entire level. And there is here, infinite extent, under post-processing volume settings, infinite extent, unbound, whether this volume covers the whole world or just the area inside the bounds. And that, what they mean by bounds is this wireframe rectangle, box, cube, whatever you want to call it. So we want to click that and boom, okay. Now the whole world is affected by all this stuff. And then you'll see nothing has changed yet. Oh, actually, wait, hold on. Where is the player starting? Where's player start? We got to get that close to our sprites here. So we got to move this in distance. Oh, he went way too far, did he? Did he go too far? He went way too far. Let's get an overview here. I want to get him by the sprites. So, here, move him over here. Move him over here. There. Let's see. Are we there now? We gotta turn around, but we're here. There they are, but yeah, look, they're garbo. They're still wacky. So now we're gonna fix that using this post-processing volume. But we need to see it in game. I don't think it actually reflects. I don't think the settings actually reflect in the editor viewport. I think you can only see it when you're actually active in the game. Maybe there's a way to apply it, but I'm not really sure. So let me pop up my notes here. I don't want to give you bad info. Okay, the first thing we need to do is to correct the exposure. So under exposure here, you've got all of these options, but honestly, you only need these two. This minimum EV100 and maximum EV100, you just set that shit to 0. You don't want it. Oh yeah, it did actually affect the world, it looked like. So that's good. Yeah. You see, if I uncheck it, it's a little different. It gets like a little darker. That kind of keeps the exposure from moving. And that yeah, it looks like GBA sprites. Yeah, because they're all like blown out and like faded. Yeah, that's true. But this keeps it from the exposure from setting because, or from adjusting, because in like a 3D game, like in an Unreal 3D game, you would, if you're in a dark area, it kind of brightens up the dark area, and then if you step out into the light, you know, it looks all bright, but then it starts to like, almost like your eyes are getting used to it, that kind of effect. You know, that's what this is for. That's what there's this automatic exposure thing is for. But we don't want that to change. It's a 2D game. We want to control the brightness of things using the textures and using the sprites. We don't want to automatically do that. I mean, unless you want to make a pixel game that does that. I mean, you could do that if you want to, but let's just say you want a retro game and you don't want that to happen, so let's see. The next thing is the vignette. and I can't remember what. Not sure what category it's under. We'll explore here for a second. Image effects? Okay, so here's one of the tricky things. You see right there that vignette is turned off, but it's not. Just because the option is disabled does not mean that the effect is disabled. That was one of the big things I had to learn about this. So we actually have to turn vignette on and explicitly set it to 0. And look at that, look how much brighter everything got. Default, vignette off, vignette at 0. Default vignette, vignette at 0. Look at that. So we're getting there, we're getting there. I'm actually glad that it shows it in the viewport like this, because then we don't have to play it. I mean, you could, you know, play it to verify that it's doing what you want it to do, but it's nice to have the preview. Because you can set these, you don't have to use this post-processing volume, you can set these on the camera itself, and I think that's probably what I did. And that's probably why I have to keep hitting play in the prototype in order to see the effect of it, but either way, we found a better way. So then blue correction. This is the one I see no one talking about. Blue correction. You have to set the blue correction. It's probably under color grading. I'm not sure which one exactly, but we'll find it. Miscellaneous, blue correction. Set that to 0. That will screw up Mega Man's color. You can get all the other settings right and it will look sort of okay, but the blue will still be wrong on Mega Man. You want blue correction to be 0. Turn that off. Now the next one, I've heard people say turn off expand gamut, but I have not noticed a difference. So if we set this to 0, I don't think I see a difference when I turn it on and off. Oh, you know what? Luigi. Look at Luigi's colors. Well, which one's better now? Luigi's green actually changes. I don't see blue on Mega Man changing, but I definitely see the green on Luigi changing. I was initially worried that maybe setting this might interrupt HDR. So I don't know. This one you might want to think about on a per cases basis. But let's see, what does Luigi's green look like here? That's what expand gamut off. I don't know, it looks closer with it when we don't set it, or we just leave it default. It looks washed out when we have it. We'll leave it on there for now, and then we'll come back and turn it off at the end. There's a lot more stuff to do that has a lot more impact on this stuff, so we'll explore that together. I've currently had it off in the prototype, just FYI, because I was afraid, based on the description, about like expanding. I'm sorry, I keep moving the mouse. About expanding the outside of the normal gamut rendering. I was worried that might interfere with HDR, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes at the end. I don't have an HDR monitor, so I couldn't tell you. I wish it did. So we'll do an experiment. We'll turn it off at the end and see if, when we're done with all the other stuff, but we got more stuff to go here. Tone curve. Oh, this one's an awful one. Turn this to 0. Tone curve to 0. Boom. Whoa, look at that improvement. Look at that. That's one of the big ones. This one was driving me nuts. Now let's see. Expand gamut off. On. Oh, it's not making like any difference now. Very, very light difference. I don't know, we'll still leave it on just to see what it looks like at the end. Yeah, tone curve, that was a huge one. That was one of the big ones that I had to find. Unreal automatically, well, it does the tone curving, if you know what that means. Like, what's a good way to explain it? It screws your color up. There you go. It screws your color up. Just turn it off. Well, it takes like the color that's in the texture, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna kind of reshape the color curves so that they're a little different. And Unreal has a default one that it does. And you can change the intensity of how much it actually does, you know, this stuff, as you can see. Obviously, we want 0. We do not want our colors changed at all, because that's the problem. Unreal is changing the color of the sprites, and we don't want that. We want to control what color, the color of the sprites based on the actual image files that we put in. We don't want Unreal to do it on its own. So, okay, then the next one is global illumination. Now, there's 2 ways you can go about this. Here. The method here, lumen, you can turn it off. You can turn it to none. That's definitely what you want. You can see the color does change. It does actually affect the sprites somehow. I don't know why. There's different ones you can use, but you don't really want to do that. You want to turn it off. Now you can turn it off for the whole project too, and I would recommend that you also do this. So if you go to Engine and Rendering, somewhere here, Rendering, then let's see. Did I go by it? No. Somewhere here. Here it is. Dynamic global illumination. Just turn it off. Because then it won't even bother loading these resources. I guarantee that if you have this checked and it's actually on Lumen or something else, it's probably going to make your build size bigger and it's probably going to be loading more stuff into RAM. Just turn it off. Keep it off completely. And we're going to put this to the side because we're going to come back to this in a minute. So, just to be safe, I turn it off on both. And then motion blur is terrible. We don't want motion blur in a 2D game. Well, I don't know. I guess it's up to you, but I don't think you should have motion blur in a 2D game. So go down here to no. Yeah, I think the amount. Yeah, turn motion blur to 0. Again, this one also has a double setting, so you know we want to. I don't know if you can really see it. It might not come through very well anyway. I don't know, can we crank it? I don't know, I don't really see it honestly, but we want it to be 0, because you will see it like in game when things are moving, when the screen is still and an object is moving. That's where you really see it. Like, I don't know if we can... Oh, that's snapping. Yeah, you probably won't see it like that. But if the screen is just still and Mega Man's running around the screen, you'll see it, and it's god-awful. It looks like trash. So you don't want that. Unless you're crazy. I don't know. If you do like a high-res hand-drawn art, maybe there's some application for it, but definitely not for sprites. I would not recommend it. So we turn that off. But again, there is a second option for this in here somewhere. Because I remember, I actually found it first in here and later on the camera settings. No, it's somewhere here. Oh yeah, bloom. We don't want bloom either. We'll turn bloom off and turn off motion blur here. Get rid of those. And now we're looking pretty okay here. Oh, I tried to save the level. It was an instinct. I'm always saving. Now we're looking a bit better. So let's see. If we get in here, they still look illuminated a little bit though. You might have to turn the light off in the thing here. But let's do the same test again, right? Let's take the face. Something about it looks yeah, it still looks a little saturated here. Maybe it's because that expand gamut's on or off. Let's see. Where are we here? Oh, we're at the light on. We might have to turn the light off and on the level here too. But let's look first at where is it? Oh, we're already selecting it. Let's go back to that post-processing gamut thing. Now I'm kind of suspicious of that because I did not have that on in the prototype. Where was it? Bloom. Do we have to turn this off? No. No, yeah, it was already off. Okay. We don't have to do anything with that. Because we turned it off in the other thing. Where was that gamut thing? I think it was under color correction here. Where is it? Color grading? It's got to be on a... Oh, down here. Yeah, color grading. Miscellaneous. I'll be honest, it doesn't look like it makes any difference at this point. I'm turning it on and off, and I don't see any difference. I'm gonna leave it off. I left it off in the prototype, so... But yeah, no, it still looks a little bright, so... Do we have to now? I just gotta double check everything. We are using the unlit Sprite material. Let's make sure the material's alright. Was that... Wait, did I get... No, that's not the right one. What did I highlight? I highlighted this. Okay, this looks okay. It's doing an emissive color. That's the unlit. It's unlit here. Surface and translucent. That's all okay. So let's take the lighting. Now they still look bright for some reason. Ah, hell. Now what's up? What's wrong now? Let's double check the image itself. Neptune, yeah. Because see, you could look at the image here and see that it looks alright. It's just when it's in the scene. Yeah, let's close those. When it's in the scene, it's brighter for some reason. I just want to make sure these are all set here. You do, when you're working with the pixels, we found out that you do want to change some of these settings. Like this says unfiltered, but apparently it's glitched. So if you make like a release build, it will actually start filtering again. I'm not sure where that filter, here, we're gonna change this to nearest. That'll fix release builds. But you gotta do that per texture. It's pain, but you gotta do it. It's already got no bitmaps. I don't think that's gonna change anything here though. Now it still looks bright for some reason. Well, what the heck's going on now? That was all the settings in my notes. Wait, do we have to restart for global illumination to take effect? That actually might be the thing. We might have to restart for global illumination to come off. I'm gonna just call it test, test map, and we'll just save it right here. It's fine. I bet that's it. Call me crazy, but I think that's what's going on. Where? Okay, here we go. Please, baby. Please, baby. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Did I get cut out there for a minute? Well, the recording is on my end too, so I'll just upload it as is. Yes, open both of those, and let's go to... Oh no, where's my Sprite? Where'd he go? Is he not there? Did it reset him or something? Is my Sprite here? What happened? Did he not save? How come he didn't save? Oh wait, do I have to open... Do I have to open the map that I saved? Oh, there we go. Gotta open the map. No, it still looks bright though. It still looks bright. So what happened? Do we just kill all the lighting? Oh. That just killed the group. It didn't actually take it out. Okay. Volumetric clouds are gone. Okay, everything is gone, but they are still bright, aren't they? Alright, now I'm mad. Now I'm mad, because this is... these are all the steps that I took last time when I did this. Bloom. No, it's not the bloom. Let's retrace our steps now. Now I'm looking like a fraud. This definitely does a lot of the heavy lifting. Exposure compensation? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I missed one. Exposure compensation has to be 0. There it was. I apologize. Stream luck strikes again, yeah. No, I missed it. I missed it. It's in my notes, but I missed it because I'm dumb. I skipped a step. I went right to the EVs. There you go. And that should probably be pretty alright. So let's check. Oh, and we might not see it in there. We'll just take a screenshot here. That was the final piece of the puzzle. My bad. I apologize in advance that this video is a mess. Yeah, so then we're gonna take it here. And we're gonna check it. Honestly, for me, the easiest way to check this is just create a layer, paste it in, and just take the color here, and then just start going. And it's pretty close. It's pretty damn close. Now, I've not been able to get it 100%, and I'm not sure, because I think Unreal still does some color processing, but you can get it pretty damn close. But now that we've gotten it this far, I wanna fiddle with that one setting, that gamut setting, because I saw some people talking about that one. So maybe that has something to do with it. Color gradient miscellaneous. Okay. And now we'll turn it to 0. Let's see if there's any noticeable effect here. I did not see one, but, you know, we'll see. Where are we here? So first, before we check the sprites themselves, I want to just check between these two. Does it look like... Actually, I don't like that cut. I want to cut here so we've got a close... sample on each of them. Do you see any difference between these two? And we can color pick and take a look. There's a slight difference. It's pretty imperceptible though to me. Well, alright. Let's see. Let's just take X's face here and do the same test. Maybe this does push it a little closer. If it does, cool, then we'll use it. It's still a little off. Still slightly. Actually, it's more off now than it was before. It feels like. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't fully recommend to have that expand gamut setting on. What if we make it 1? Just for the heck of it, right? Just to see what happens? I don't know. I'm pretty sure people recommended it be 0, but yeah, let's just see. Where is... here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, again, my only concern with this setting is that it might cause problems for HDR. Nah, it's still wrong. I don't know. I guess I say just keep it off. I think it's actually closer when it's off. But yeah, so let's check the other characters now. Because I think, as far as I've witnessed, you can't get it 100% correct, but you can get it pretty damn close. So let's sample the blues now. Here. Yeah, that's pretty close for the skin. The red. Man, that's darker than I would like it to be. But it's still pretty close. A hell of a lot closer than it is before. Let's try the blues. The blues are really close. Yeah, blues are really close. Yeah. If you look back here, you almost can't even see the difference. Brush. The black's darker than I expected, or lighter than I expected it to be, though. Do you need the post-processing volume? Yeah. So the post-processing volume, you can do it on the camera if you want, but the post-processing volume is something that you can copy and paste without screwing with the camera settings, and it will apply to every camera everywhere. So again, you don't strictly need it. You could do all of these on the camera, but I find it easier to manage post-processing volume than it is to do it with the camera. So this overrides the camera settings, essentially. And then you can just copy and paste this, or make like a blueprint out of it or something, and then put it in all of your levels. I find that to be an easier way to manage it. So say if you have it, I'm pretty sure you can make this a blueprint. Okay, if you make it a blueprint, then you could put it in all the levels, and if you need to change something later, then they'll all change, because it'll all look back to the blueprint. I don't know if you can just like right click and save selected. Is that it? Save selected actor? I don't know. Is there an easy way, since you're here, AJ, is there an easy way to just be like, I want to turn this into a blueprint and save it like as an asset? Or does it not work that way? I know in Unity you can do something like that. I figured it would be like save, but I guess not. Place actor, replace, you know. Yeah, there is. What do you do? How do you do that? I don't see any initial option there, but small button on the top right of the inspector. By inspector, you mean details? Or this one? I guess not this one. Small button. Converts this actor, into a reusable blueprint. Yeah, there it is. Yay, okay. Yeah, just actors, fine. Select. Yeah, there you go. That'd probably be the better way to do it. And then you can do all your settings here, and you just drop this into every map. And if you ever need to change anything, you change it once here, and it propagates everything else. There you go. I learned something in my own learn video. Yeah, next to the lock, yeah. I didn't expect it to be this one, but yeah. Of course, now we gotta do all the settings in here now and then look back the other way, but that's fine. It's still worth it. But yeah, they're pretty close now. I'm not sure if you can really get closer than that. I feel like they're worse when you have the expand gamut on. So I don't think I can recommend that step that I've seen people mention. I'm just gonna leave mine off for now. Because their recommendation was this at 0, but it doesn't seem to make any good difference to me. I'm going to assume that this won't change anything either. Or, not that one, this one. We can experiment a little bit. Those were all the settings that I found so far. I guess if we find more, we can always just make an updated video. We're here. Yeah, it looks the same. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's most of the stuff that I found. Maybe there's some other stuff. If there is, I'll make an update video. But that's all the stuff I did in the prototype, and it looked convincing to me. Or add it to your game mode so it always spawns. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that, yeah. Yeah, since you have since it's set to infinite, wherever. I guess we'll have to do it over here now. Since it's set to infinite expanse, it will cover the entire thing. Where is that one now? I showed it earlier. Do I have to do it on this one? Just go back in the video. Go back earlier in the video where I showed it. I don't know where the setting is. Expanse. No, it's not on there. It's probably on here now. Infinite. I have no idea where the setting went now. Well, do it before you convert it to an actor, I guess. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Infinite extent. This search for property is a godsend. I love this. That's one of the, I think Unity does not have this, at least not the version that I was using. It's very helpful. Yeah, infinite extent, so that covers the whole world. Then you don't have to worry about it. But I think AJ's suggestion is good. If you just put it into your game mode, or did you say game instance or game mode? Game mode. I guess you could probably do it in game instance. No, because if you do it in game instance, I don't know if you keep it loaded all the time, or if it'll unload when you change levels. But either way, there's little gimmicks you can do to help you out here, or just put it in every map. But I mean, that's it. That's kind of the process. Again, I don't think you can get it 100% correct because Unreal still does a little bit of color processing, because it is switching color spaces. Like here you can say, oh yeah, it's sRGB, where is the setting for that? Yeah, compression setting RGBA. There is a color setting somewhere here. Maybe I'm going by it. Power to advanced source color? Oh, here. Default. You can set it explicitly to sRGB, but it doesn't change anything because it already is. But everything gets like converted to linear. So I suspect that the color, when the color space is being converted during rendering, I suspect that's where the little deviants come from. Because I guarantee if you select these, it's not going to make a difference. Because it's already an sRGB image, like the game already knows that. So we'll just for neurotic sanity's sake, we'll double check it, but I have a feeling it's not going to make a damn difference. Nah, it looks the same to me. It's the same kind of distribution here. You still see a small variance, but that's as close as I could get it. So, you know, if anyone knows any more tricks or whatever, that's what I've been able to find out. And then other people seem to be using similar settings now, so yeah, again, that I've seen people talk about that expand gamut, but I don't think that's gonna do anything. It doesn't seem to have any real impact. So I'm gonna leave it off for now. Again, and that's it. So there you go. Correct your colors. I don't want to see blown out sprites anymore. You're all on watch. You better do it. I go through the embarrassment of making this video on the fly without any practice, looking like I don't know anything. And now it's your turn. You better do it. You correct your shit. And that's it. I guess that's the end of that segment. That's how you correct your colors. And I hate the way that Unreal's. Oh, it's so fast. Oh, it's too fast. The camera's too fast. I lost track of the object. Where is it? Where'd you go? There you are. Ah! Camera's too fast. Slow down. Slow down. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to zoom in on it without it freaking out. But there you go. They look pretty close now. So, there. Hooray! Yeah, I guess the only other thing I wanted to cover was how we did the sprite templates. Excuse me. Talking too damn much. Yeah. So we started using this program called Free Texture Packer, and that has been a godsend for our sprite sheets, which I will show here. And where's the window? Here. So Pixel, I guess I'll show Mega Man's because that one's probably the one that looks the most, really gives the idea of what is going on when we use this texture packer. So if I go to Mega Man's animation folder and open up the free texture packer, oh yeah, that's weird. You can't have two of them open at once, which is strange, but here. Uh-oh. Oh no! I reorganized the files and it can't find them anymore. It actually lost track of the folder paths. Because I reorganized the files and put them in different directories. Hold on. Let's open this. Let's open this with Notepad. Can we do that? Here. This is what they used to be before. Can we just do this? Can we shorten these? Or is it gonna freak out? Maybe we can just load it as a relative path. I hope so. Because this is actually gonna be a real pain if it did that when I move things around to different folders. Because the directories are still here. These are where all the frames are stored. And it's just, you know, it's all right there. Okay. Let's close. Did we close it already? I think we closed it. Let's save. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to close the whole thing. And then open. Oh no, it does not do relative paths? Oh, come on. Alright, I guess we'll have to do it in real time. You know what, let's start from the beginning then. If we're gonna have this problem, let's start from the beginning. Oh, the other thing too, actually, I guess I should mention when I was comparing the colors here, just really quickly, I was taking like a screenshot off the monitor, and the monitor color settings could also be influencing what we see here. So when we paste it in to compare it to the sprite, it could actually also be causing some of the bit of difference. But I don't know how much it was, and I'm honestly not sure how you would check it otherwise. Yeah, anyway, let's re-add the stuff here. So playable characters, Mega Man, animations, and we'll just do this one first. So here, you see it's added all the Buster parts. Now they're black and white because that's how we get the palettes. So if I open that file, you'll see, you know, turn on the guides. Oh, we don't need the file. They're colored here with the palette, but when we export it, we turn them black and white, and that allows Unreal, well, we build the shader in Unreal to manage the palettes, and it basically takes the black and white image and it colors it. That's why you're going to see they're all black and white, but when I save them as a file, they're still in color. But you see, these are all the frames, right? And then, let's say, I wish there was a dark theme or something here, because it's like killing my eyes looking at it. But you'll see, those are all the Buster ones, right? And then, you know, we add the hand parts. Those are like when he shoots with the hand. But you see, as we add them, more and more sprites get put into the sheet here. Can I select multiple? No. It's gonna make me do this one at a time. Excruciating. There's the ladder climbing sprites. Ladder shoot. Ladder to standing. Which we didn't end up implementing that. The prototype just didn't have time. The mega arm parts. That's the where it shoots out, you see here. And then when it returns, it's this one. Oh, wait, no. Folder. The running animation, that's a big one. Now you can see those frames. You see every time it's trying to figure out how to pack them in as close as possible. And it cuts out all the excess, because if we look at the running here, here, you see that they're actually pretty big, like the frames are big. Obviously, I turn off all this stuff when I, oh, this is actually supposed to be above the character. Whoops, that's fine. You see that there's a lot of extra space here. So when we do export them, well, Windows is not going to show it correctly. You see how there's so much space all around? Well, we don't want all that excess space. We put Mega Man in the center, like his sprite is, the axis is right here. This is what that texture packer uses. It says, okay, we're going to orient everything by the center. So we make the canvas big enough that we can put Mega Man on top and say, okay, this is the floor line, right? That's where I've got, here. If I turn the axis off, oh, excuse me. You can see this is the floor line, and Mega Man sprites actually push down one pixel into the floor in Mega Man 7. Actually, in the NES games he is too. It's a neat little trick that they use to make it look a little more dynamic. And then all of these are split up into all their frames. And the texture packer here, not that one, this one, automatically cuts out all that extra space. And it will also find duplicates. It'll find the duplicate frames, as long as it's the same size. So like, I've got the standing pose here to make the animation process easier. So I know where the orientation is, and it helps me kind of see, it helps me like align everything. I'm gonna use the same frame. It highlights them and it lets you know, oh yeah, that's a duplicate. And it automatically handles that for you, which is really great. So let's add, that was run, shoot. Now he's got the shooting with the arm forward. Now notice that the arm is detached. We actually do 2 different sprites for that. Actually more than 2. Where's run, where am I? Run, shoot, here. I went past it like 5 times. The hand here is a separate sprite. See? And we can turn the hand on, or the buster. And that's how we do it in game. There are actually multiple sprites that are coordinated in the same animation. When he fires the mega arm and his arm is missing, then we have nothing. We're just shooting, we got the buster. And then some special weapons come out of the hand, so we have hand sprites that I put together for that. And that's here, you see, here's the hand sprites and the buster sprites. They're all separate. I went down again? For how long? Like just a minute? I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why. It was doing this last time too. Well, the VOD will have all of it, I think. Because I got the recording locally. A couple or so minutes? Damn it! Man! Oh yeah, it does say some drop frames on the stats. Damn it! I don't know what you saw and what you didn't. So here, running animation. You don't got the arm. I removed the buster to show the arm. And that way I can just paste the sprites that I want on it. So if he's shooting out of his hand, cool. If he's shooting out of his buster. But the sprite is saved in the sheet here, if you can see it, without the arm attached. So in the game, we actually just have multiple sprites that are coordinated on the same animation, and then we just turn them on and off, make them visible or invisible to show whichever one we want. Yeah, I don't know. The internet's been a little weird here, and I'm not sure if maybe it's my router or not, because even on my phone, every once in a while, like, things will stop loading for like a minute, but then it'll come back. And I wonder, I don't know, maybe my router's dying. Damn it. I swear, I get 5 steps ahead and then something breaks. It's awful. Last time the VOD seemed to be intact though. On YouTube at least, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Might want to go do a Google ping test. The problem is that it only happens like once every couple hours, so like I won't even know when it happens. I can't like predict it. I did reboot the router earlier today or yesterday, last night maybe, thinking maybe it just needed time to cool down, but or my ISP, maybe my ISP is bugging out. I'm not sure. I'll have to do further investigation of it. Yeah, see if it's losing packets. I'm sure it is to some degree, because when it does go down on my phone, I notice like Twitter just stops working. Or like YouTube will just start trying to load, like it'll have the buffering icon come up, and it'll be like that for a minute and then it'll come back. So I think it's everything is just getting cut out for some reason. I don't know, I'll have to look into it. Anyway, yeah, that's lovely, but anyway, we want to add more. That was run shoot. Now I do normal shoot, that's like the standing and shooting. Oh, I did it with the hand. Here, I'll turn the buster on. There it is with the buster. Or if I put it in this loop, it'll show the loop. And then without anything. So that's all in there. You can see there's the shoot frames. Again, you can get them highlighted here. Yeah, they all start with the standing frame, right? So that one, you see, it knows enough to, well, not that one. This one. It knows enough to say, oh, they're the same thing. You know, don't duplicate them. Yeah, if I click this one, if I click it here in the chart, then it highlights all the ones that it's duplicate of. It's really, really handy. That one was shoot. This one is shoot with the mega arm. Because that's a different animation. Then slide. There's the sliding. I don't know how to deselect it though. Yeah, if you click the folder, it shows you all the ones that they're from. Oh, there we go. There's the sliding. And stand, the last one, alphabetically. And so there's Mega Man's full sheet. That's the whole thing. So it's definitely cuts down on the amount of stuff you can have. Now you can select different options here. This one, you know, they'll give you different results potentially. I tell it to set to 512. I'm hoping that all of it can fit in 512 by 512, which I think is what this is. I think all the padding here, I think is 512. If you do fixed size, right? I think that, yeah, that forces it to 512. I think all the sprites can fit on that. That's my goal, at least, to get them as much in that, because now all of them have to be duplicated, right? Like I showed before earlier in the stream. we've still got some, oh, go back. We've still got some where he's doing his normal animations just without the arm because, you know, he shot the arm and it hasn't returned back. We still have to put those in. Because they're not the same as the shooting sprite. He shouldn't just be holding his arm out the whole time, right? Oh, perspective, whoa. He shouldn't just be holding his arm out the whole time. You know, he'll hold it out for a little bit with the little nub. But then he'll go back into other things, because you might start sliding or climbing without the arm. And it's basically just gotta be missing. So all the animations basically doubled. Like even damage has to not have the arm. Any pose that he can realistically do during the gameplay also has to have an armless version. So here, and there are two different sprites. I experimented with having this as like a separate sprite, but there are instances like exactly this where it doesn't make sense. Because you see the when the arm is missing, there has to be additional stuff here. You know, so when it's attached, this is like a white outline, and when it's not, it's that. So I decided to just make them two different sprites. Everybody's computer's got 8 million gigs of RAM. You know, even low-end computers have at least 4, you know, 6, and most of them have 8 at this point. So I'm just gonna basically duplicate every frame. So this sheet will get about twice as big, but it's packed in pretty good. Like, it's not even using half. I think we'll easily be able to be within the 512 limit here and do that. So, man, my lips are dry. But yeah, that's how we do the sprites. Basically just put them in here like this, and when we got what we want, then we go to export them. But you have to do this. You have to say 000 and change this to ping here. And what it'll do is it'll say, oh, you want every frame, when you put the 000 here, it'll say, oh, you want to export each frame as a separate thing, right? And like, yeah. So you hit OK, and it says it already exists. Do you want to overwrite it? And when you export, it says, do you want to export in 42 frames? 42? Why is it 42? Oh, you know what? I know why. It's taking the loop region. You have to uncheck this, and then it'll only do those frames once. Because the run was set to go like 3 or 4 times in a loop. If you do this, it'll actually export all those frames as separate. You just want to take that off. There we go. Yeah, now it's only 12. So if I say yes to that, it'll overwrite those. I don't want to though, because they're already formatted and correct. But that's what you do. And then when you're done with that, you just add the folder that they got exported to here. And then it's got everything for you. And then when you're ready to do this one, just closing them. Oh no, you can't mouse, or you can't keyboard with it? That's annoying. Alright. You want to give them a name? I use PL for player, MM for Mega Man, and sprites. Make sure it's ping. I do the remove file extension, because otherwise it'll have like the .ping in the name in Unreal, and I find that annoying. Scale, you can scale the texture. Should be able to go like 0.5 or something, right? No? I don't know, maybe it won't show it in the preview. Yeah, I guess it doesn't show it in the preview. You want that to stay 1, usually. You don't want any filter. And here, you can select Unreal Engine as the format, and that's what I do, and then you just export when you're ready. I make it power of 2. Apparently power of 2 textures are more optimal somehow. So I do that. Now Unreal can pad them for you, but You might as well just do it here, and then you don't have to remember to do it later. I do extrude, and I don't know if it'll actually show that in the final texture here or not. No, it's probably because they're bordered all by one transparent pixel. But extrude is basically when the images are close together, you want to kind of like double the pixel. If you ever see a sprite sheet that looks like this is why it's extruded. And that's because, see here, they meet here, they touch each other. Now mine are bordered with a pixel of transparency, so you don't see the extrusion on the sprite itself. But if they were cut closer, then you would definitely see it. And what happens here is because when it renders the sprite in Unreal, in a 3D engine, most 3D engines will do this, it will try to get, you know, this like a texture, but it may overstep by like a nanometer, like a fraction of a pixel. It might overstep to the next pixel over. And if that next pixel over happens to be like someone else's foot, it's gonna sample this pixel over here. Which, hey, if they're both the same color, not too bad of a difference maybe. But, you know, if you've got like soft shading on the sprites, and say this leg is red and this leg is blue, you could potentially get a blue pixel because it couldn't quite, you know, resolve exactly where that pixel was. Now the reason this happens is because of floating point and precision, which I've gone over at length before, but computers are bad at math. Surprise, a lot of people don't know that. Computers are actually really bad at math, even though they're good at math. And I know that doesn't make any sense, but when decimals get small, things get a little imprecise, they get a little unreliable. And when a texture like this renders, it considers the left, or one of the margins, to be 0, and the other one to be 1. So the pixel here, this is like 0.5. But the pixel here, any of these here could be like 0.234671. You know, like it could get like a really small decimal. And then that's the point where it's like, it's somewhere here, and it can just pick the wrong one sometimes. And that's why that extrude sort of makes it so that whatever the last column of pixels was is going to be duplicated, so that if it does screw up and decide to go over the line here, it'll just find the same color again, and it won't be a problem. Which actually really comes in handy for a lot of 2D rendering in 3D. So I have the extrude on. Long story short, just keep the damn extrude on. You can increase it. I don't know why you would need more than 1 pixel of extrude, but it's there. If you want to change it, I would always select 1. Allowing rotation's fine, and allowing trim is good because you do not want this. This is why trim is good. You do not want... Now this is what Unreal will do. If you use like paper 2D flipbooks crap, this is what you will end up with. Unreal's flipbooks are garbage. Absolute garbage. There's no reason to ever use a flipbook. All the frames have to be like the same size or something, and they're all like screwed up, and it's all weird. You do not want to waste all this RAM. This is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 textures of the same size, or just 1 of like half the size. Yeah, it's very clear what you need to do. You need to use this texture packer. to get your stuff, and don't let Unreal make you stupid flipbooks that make sprite sheets that look like this, because this is just a huge waste. You do not want to do this. Huge waste. You know, maybe it can tank it now with Mega Man, but now I've got more characters, and every enemy has now 3 giant textures associated. You don't want that. Wily would use 8 textures. yeah, don't be like Wily. If Wily would use more textures, you don't want to do that. So just do that. That's why we go through this whole process to make sure everything's optimized like this. I don't know what the difference between trim and crop is here. I didn't notice. I just leave it on trim. Output threshold, if you have like hand-drawn art and you got smooth anti-aliasing, basically what that means is that if the pixel is basically transparent, like it's really close to being transparent, it will just not, it'll erase the pixel, and you most likely won't notice a difference. You'll have to check a setting that works for you. What saves the most space versus, you know, when does it become noticeable. But in a lot of cases, you can cut off quite a bit before it's noticeable. And then identical frames, you want to detect identical, because now I've got like 10,000 standing frames all over the place. So yeah, you want to detect identical. And in here, I'm not sure if this matters at all in terms of, like, you know, at the end of the day, picking the different packer. I think they're just different algorithms. And some of them have some options, but I don't know, like that one's funny. It stacks everything to the left and the top. But as long as you have this width and height set, it won't exceed that. So I guess whatever looks better to you, like this looks kind of cool. I don't know. This makes my brain happy to see it like this, so I guess we'll just do that. That's how I do it. If you're getting 2 sheets out of it, and it looks like maybe it could possibly make it 1 out of it if it sorted it differently, then maybe like check these different ones, but I don't see any reason to really fiddle with this so much. If it gets it on 1 sheet, then it gets it on 1 sheet, and that's good enough for me. Yeah, sorry, just checking messages. You don't want to ignore your wife's messages. That's bad. You're playing with fire there if you ignore those. She was telling me about the kittens. Yeah, so that's how we do the sprite stuff. We just make sure everything's... No, I don't know what I changed there. I don't want to change that. Just make sure everything's centered. So I made this like little template here to help keep everything on the rails. Oh, that dot. I think that's where the buster had to be aligned. Is that where's that one come from? Oh, the guides above. Yeah, I also have like the hitbox too, if I want to see it. But I'll turn off the... What is it now? The pivot. No, not the pivot. That's my axis of alignment. The buster shot point. Oh, I see. That's where the nozzle is, isn't it? We turn the buster on. Yeah, that's where the nozzle is. It doesn't look aligned though. I might have moved something in the meantime. Oh no, I guess it's okay. Yeah, it needs to be... I suppose this one should be pushed back by 1 maybe. But it needs to be aligned at this. So that the line between these 2 pixels is where the shoot happens. In fact, it's actually technically this corner, this bottom left corner, is where the bullet gets spawned of this pixel. So the top right corner of this one. And that looks consistent, yeah. Yeah, this one should definitely be down. Yeah, this one, I did these manually in Unreal too, but this one should probably actually be like here instead. So just for my own sanity, I'm going to adjust them. Yeah, and then that one's okay. Yeah, there we go. Alright, brain's happy. But yeah, that's basically the template that I use, and just make sure that the center is literally the center, because that's what this texture packer is basing it off of. You don't really see it here, but when you get into Unreal, and we'll open the project again, I'll show you, it actually aligns the sprite automatically for me at the foot, or at the feet here. You'll see the pivot is actually there. See? That's where the handle on the sprite is. And that's where it ends up. And then they're all here. So this is the normal body. I think I had it turned off so it was just easier to see. But see how they're all here. I guess the last sprite I used was the sliding one. I can change it to stand. It doesn't matter, because the animation is going to overwrite whatever's showing here. But then here's the hand one. It's just set to invisible. But we can turn it on and off. But let's keep one on, right? So shoot. We'll turn that one off instead. So when I go into actually editing an actor sequence, that's what we're using instead of paper footbooks or whatever. We're using the actor sequencer. Oh, that one's shooting, so it's not going to show, but we'll do slide. There. That's going to show the main sprite. I can turn the shooting sprite back on, and then you can see both. You'll notice that they're actually both animated at the same time for most animations here. If I go down to... Where's running and shooting? Or just running, right? Walk. Here's walk. You'll definitely see they're both animated at the same time. See, the arm, the shoot arm is out, and the regular sprites are also animated. So whenever he goes from showing the shooting to showing the, not shooting, it's actually the same animation. I'm just turning one sprite off and the other one back on when that happens. But most of the animations have everything all animated at once. Jumping is a good one. You can actually really see it in the jumping. See? Here's the shooting sprite and the normal one, but they're just aligned the same. So I just turn one or the other on, but they're actually the same animation. And the hand and stuff is also there, so sprite hand, you turn that one on. There it is. And sprite buster. See, they're just all there. And then the arrows are the spawning points. The red is for the hand, the yellow is for the buster, and the blue one is for where the arm detaches for the rocket arm. But everything's all in here and all in animation. And then when you actually play it, I'm just in the background, I got code that turns sprites on and off so that you only see the one that needs to be. Okay. You see the arm will disappear. I just turn both the buster and the hand off when I shoot the actual rocket arm. And buster's on here. The sub-weapons are broken in the build right now, so I can't show you the hand pose, but they were there. But yeah, it's all the same animation. The walking and shooting, I'm just changing the sprites. or you know which one is being shown. So it's a neat trick, and I think it makes animating everything easier. And you don't need 5 animations for the same animation. You just do one, and you just hide the sprites you don't want to see at that point in time. So it's good. Works out good. It's fun. So that's how we do animations. We use Actor Sequencer. No stupid flipbooks, because you cannot do this multi-sprite thing with these flipbooks. You can only... Dry lips. You can only animate one sprite at a time. You can't layer them with the paper flipbooks thing. Now you can make an object with multiple flipbooks in it, but that's kind of a pain to coordinate multiple flipbook animation files because you can't see them together. You'd have to run the game and then hope and pray that they're together, and then hope you see the fine details and adjustments you need to make and go back and adjust one or the other. I'm not dealing with that. And you also can't have sprites moving like the arm here with the Buster. The Buster is just there. It's its own little sub-object and it's got a position. I actually just changed the position right here. Oh, that's a shoot point. Here's the Buster. I actually changed the location of where it is in order to align it with the arm. And again, this flipbooks crap does not do that. You can't do that stuff. You can't slide a sprite around. You can't change its position. It just takes whatever image is there and it just shows the next one. So again, don't use that crap. Invest in your own tools to make this stuff happen. That's what I had to do. And that's most of what I've been working on, honestly, over the months. The stage that we put together and the enemies and all that stuff, most of that was like a month and a half or less of actual work to put that together. Most of the time has been figuring out, how do I make Unreal's 2D not suck? You know, I can't use flipbooks, they're crap, garbage. So I've got to come up with a way to get sprites to work in Sequencer, which they don't do by default. And, you know, how do I get the palette system working and all that? That was... Oh, and the platforming module, that was most of... that was most of the work this entire time. Reminds me of Mega Man. Well, I would hope it does. I would hope that Mega Man reminds you of Mega Man. I would hope this looks like Mega Man. I mean, I fail my mission if it doesn't look like Mega Man. It wouldn't be a remake of a Mega Man game if he didn't look like Mega Man, I guess, right? It just changed the character? I don't know. I mean, overall, we're in a pretty good place right now. I think development-wise. We just gotta redo this stage in the way that we want it, and then, weird question, do you collect Mega Man merch? Yeah, I do. Some of it. Here's one. I don't have too much of it, and some of it got lost in the flood, but I got this thing. It turns on. I don't know if it's got batteries in it. There you go. Hey! You can't, like, see it's too bright now. Got that. Here. The hat I wore on the other stream. That's a Mega Man one. I don't know. Like the camera full. See that? Here. I got some stuff. There's still some stuff I gotta unpack though, so. Oh, I got this after the flood. This is really cool. Hold on, let me switch back. This is really cool. It's a little, like, diorama. Hold on. I gotta get it. in a way that you can really see it. Yeah, it's backwards. The camera's backwards. Oh, it's reflecting. There, can you see it? It's really cool. And then there's another one. I like the art style that they put on it. Like it's like semi-chibi, not like full, but it's... No, it fell apart. No, no. There. No, damn it! It's not gonna go. Okay, steady hands. Steady. Please go back. Please go back. Streamer luck. Streamer luck hits again. There, steady hands. Steady hands. It's got like 3 layers. So it's like X in the middle in the capsule. It's really cool. I've got more stuff in storage, but we just moved in, so I don't have everything out. And again, we lost some stuff in the floods, so we don't have everything, but yeah, I think that's kind of all I have out at the moment. But we'll add more as time goes on. Yeah, these ones, they're pretty small, though, little acrylic things. They're pretty small, but they're kind of expensive, but they're cool. I guess I don't really regret it, but they're like $30 each or something. I don't know. I had the... Here, is this it? The art? Yeah. They came with these little art cards, which are really cool. Yeah, you can see them. And then this one. You probably see them better with the art. Damn it. How do I... There. You probably see them better with this than you can through the actual acrylic. So, they're pretty cool. There's a secret stage. I guess that's who made it. They're pretty neat. There you go. Where's my sponsorship thing? I'm pimping your stuff. We need Legends 3, ZX3, and Mega Man Co-op. Yeah. Yes to all of them. They did... I don't know if you've been following the news. They actually found like a prototype build of Mega Man 10 that has actual co-op in it. And they scrapped the entire mode and didn't say a word about it and shipped the game without the co-op for whatever reason. But apparently it actually works. And there's, I don't know if you have like a 360 dev kit or something, you can actually like load it and play it. And that's wild. And I can't believe they never said anything about it. They're pretty tight-lipped about that. We don't need Legends 3. We need a remake of 1 and 2. Well, I'd say we need all 3 in that case. I do agree that Legends 1 and 2... how do I want to say this? I like Legends 1 and 2, but they are really rough to revisit. Yeah, they're really rough to go back to. They do not age well. The graphics and the writing and all that's fine. It's the controls that are the problem. And at this point, it's been so long since those 2 have been out that if they put 3 out, nobody's going to be like, oh, okay, well, most people won't know what's going on in the story. They won't understand it. So they would want to go back and play 1 and 2. Then they'll play 1 and 2 and be like, oh my god, these games are ass. And then they won't buy 3. That would be my prediction as to what might actually happen in that scenario. Anybody who actually goes back to them will get a very bad impression about them. So they do need to do that. They do need to remake 1 and 2, or at least port them and fix the controls or something. They have to do something with them. Preferably remake, but I'll take a port with fixed controls. And if they don't do that, I'd be really just what would the word be? I wouldn't expect it to go well. I wouldn't expect Legends 3 to go over well if they didn't go back and touch those games up. So I think even the people who played them will be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna replay Legends 1 and 2 leading up to the release of Legends 3 to get caught back up and remind myself what it was like, and they're gonna be like, damn, this game this game controls like Garbo. That's how I was. I guess at the time when 3D was just starting and all the different games were doing their own thing to try to do 3D controls, and you just kind of accepted that some of them were kind of weird and they haven't quite caught on yet. But then, you know, you come back to like the GameCube era or the PlayStation 2 era or even like PS3, and then you go back and play Legends and you're like, oh my god, this is awful. Like, they had no idea what they were doing. The controls are terrible. And Legends 2 fixes it a little bit, but it's not enough. I think they'd have to actually go back and do them both. ZX3 is a must. And a Dynamo model is a must. Did they make a model of Dynamo? I don't know if I've ever seen one. I would like to see them make ZX3. I mean, ZX2, aka ZX Advent, I think is actually one of the best games in the franchise. Just design-wise, just all the different models you can play as, all the different boss characters you can play as. There's a ton of bosses, the music's great, gameplay's fine, just, well, not better than fine, it's good. You know, I think everything in ZX Advent is pretty good except the voice acting. I think the writing is pretty cringe too. And maybe some of that's the translation. Definitely some of it's the voice acting, but I think the Z series is overall better story-wise than ZX. ZX got kind of weird and strange, and here, let's just... I'll fiddle as I talk. At least ZX Advent gave us the booty. Yeah, the booty. Oh my god. But hey, some people have made what they call the undub, where they put the Japanese voices back into the English. I'm assuming the booty is still there in text, but yeah. I guess if I replayed it, I'd probably try to do it that way. I'd probably try to do the undub. And then ZX, the first ZX, I don't like it that much. I think they made the map confusing, and it just, I don't know. I don't really like the characters all that much either. I don't know. It got kind of like weird and a bit cringe. But I think what kills it for me is the map system's really bad. And you can very easily get lost or not find where you're supposed to go. Even though it's kind of an interconnected world, it's just not. But the one thing that I was really mad about when it came out, they took all the voice acting out. And they took all the audio files and then they just made them blank. They didn't remove they just replaced all of them with silence. Just silence. So like, there's some cutscenes where the text is going on its own and you have no control over advancing to the next text box. Those are the parts where the voice acting was there. They just silenced the voices and left the cutscene as is. I don't know. I hate that. Like, look, I get it. If you can't find English voice actors, or you can't find the budget for English voice actors, or whatever, that's fine, just leave the Japanese voices in, I don't care, or make it an option. Don't just remove all the voice acting for everybody without any kind of option. That bugged me. That part really pissed me off. And thankfully ZX Advent, well, for what it's worth, it had voice acting. I would have preferred an option to have the original voices, but you know, I guess it's better than not having anything? I don't know. Oh look, it's Mercury! He doesn't do anything though yet. He's just chilling. He'll just sit there. You can kill him, but he don't do nothing. Boom! I won! Hooray! ZX was a mess. Here's a useless map. Here's gimmicks that require to change a weapon of a model. Oh, to charge a weapon of a model that uses weapon energy. Yeah, that's true. That part sucked. And I don't know if like it didn't refill on its own or refilled very slowly. Here's a mission management system that erases your progress if you cancel the mission at a point. You'll still need to go the long way around. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that had a lot of problems. And then they threw all of that out and they said, all right, we're gonna just do a normal Mega Man with a stage select, and then you could just do that and have a normal Mega Man game for ZX Advent, and then everything was fine. And they did kind of the same thing with 01, had that weird interconnection and the weird mission system. And I guess everybody hated it, so in 02 they're like, all right, here's just your stage select, just do it the normal way. Sorry if I'm asking again, but will this game have a save system that isn't a password system? Yeah. We'll have save slots. I honestly not even sure a password would work anymore, because here's the thing. The password is really just like an encoded piece of data. That's your save file. And they compress it down into a number, basically. And then you input the number through the password system. Either by putting dots on a grid or whatever, or putting numbers into a grid. Like Mega Man 7, that's got like a grid of numbers or whatever. But you'll notice in Mega Man 7, when you get your password and you come back, maybe it was the Game Boy games will erase all of the currency you have. Like there's not enough space to the password to save the currency. Or if it was 7, I don't know, one of these games won't save the bolts that you have because there's not enough, information in the password to save all that. So that's one reason that you wouldn't use a password in today's day and age, because you have a lot more freedom to add more stuff, to say, oh, we want to add another item from the shop. Don't got enough space in the password for another item. I guess we can't add it. You don't want to run into that. So you want save slots. They're just way easier to manage. They're way more flexible. So that's definitely the way we're going. It's going to be save slots. But what I was thinking is, if we add any like optional cheats or something, that we could do a password system for the cheats. And then you get the number and you put it in, and then you can activate the cheat. Or like get hard mode without beating the game, you could put in the password to unlock that or something. I think that would be kind of like a good use of the aesthetics of the password screen without actually just having passwords, for game progress at least. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Don't know if this is already tackled, but if this will closely resemble Mega Man 5, will it have the 2 buster upgrades when you die constantly? Probably. That question has come up, and it's definitely something I've been thinking about. So what he's referring to, or well, he, she, or whoever, what they are referring to, if I don't know who they are, is in Mega Man 5 for Game Boy, if you get 4 game overs in a row, and I don't know if they have to be on the same stage, but if you get 4 game overs in a row, they'll give you a pity upgrade that increases the charge speed of the buster. And then if you get another 4 game overs in a row, then you get a speed up, so all of your buster shots, the mega arm, all that speeds up very quickly. And you can have those until you turn the game off. And here's the thing with the password, like I was just saying, they don't save into the password. So you'd have to get those game overs all over again to get those upgrades. Obviously that's a little ridiculous, I guess, to put into the game as it is. So the idea is maybe we could just add quick charge and projectile speed up as items that you can just get in the shop just normally. Mega Man 8 does both of those. Mega Man and Bass also does a quick charge. I don't think they have the speed up for the shots, but Mega Man 8 does have a Buster Shot speed up, upgrades. So there's precedent for it. I think it would be a good idea personally. So it's at least in the tentative plans to do that. I think it doesn't matter if it's the same stage or not. I've definitely played. Maybe you can't beat the same boss, or you can't beat a boss. Because I've definitely gotten 4 game overs across a playthrough, and I didn't get the upgrade. So there's got to be something about it. Either you have to stay in the same stage, or maybe you can't beat a boss. Maybe it resets when you beat a boss, or something. There's some condition there. I just don't know what it is personally. The bullet speed upgrade just makes it play like the NES games. I was gonna say that too. Yeah, it actually speeds it up. The Game Boy games are a bit slower, so the bullet speeds are slower. But when you get the speed upgrade, it's actually just basically makes it like the NES game. Oh, you can't go back to the stage select. That's where it resets? Okay. That makes sense then, from what I've seen. So you have to keep grinding on the same stage over again? That's kind of ridiculous, but yeah. I'm definitely not going to make that a condition. It'll just show up in the shop if we do add it. Which I think we should, in general. Yeah, if you go to stage select, the counter resets. That's kind of annoying. I don't know. I feel like they should have just did it for the whole playthrough. Will the fan game get a demo sometime soon? It will get a demo sometime. I don't know about how soon, though. Our current, I guess, goal is to maybe have a playable demo for, what was it called? Somebody on Twitter sent me something where it's a thing where a lot of fan games get a lot of coverage. I think it was called Sage. So for what they said, it's happening in September. And so if we can get a build out by September, then I guess we can submit it to this place. And that would be good. And then I guess it would be a public build. So that would be our current objective. If we can make it in time, that would be good. I don't know how many stages we'll be able to finish in that amount of time. It's hard to tell. I mean, you should be able to get 2, but I don't know. We still got a lot of other systems to make in the game, too. Like, sliding right now is faked. I showed this off in the first, and probably the second stream, too. But the sliding doesn't actually work. Hold on, there we go. So here, you can actually just walk through. It'll keep you in the slide. Like, it can detect the ceiling above Mega Man, but we don't have where Mega Man physically shrinks to actually get into a gap like that, and then not, when he's in another thing. So there's some weird things that we haven't done yet, and like hit detection. The enemies can hit Mega Man, but it doesn't do damage yet. Things like that. So there's a lot more for us to do than simply just making another stage or something. And we're remaking this stage anyway to make it a lot fancier. So there's still a lot of work to redo. Oh, I see. They swapped, instead of Sega, it's Sage. Sage. I don't know how they pronounce it. It spun out of a Sonic fan game event. That makes sense. That makes sense. If you get an intro stage and maybe one stage, that will be enough for Sage. Honestly, the intro stage will probably be one of the last ones we do. If we do get a demo, it'll probably be the remake of this stage, at minimum, and then whatever stage we decide to tackle next. And for the most part, I'm leaving it up to the team to see what they want to do when it comes to what stage to do. And they decided they want to go ahead and do the redo of this stage. first, since we're already, you know, mostly done with its basic form and the enemies and stuff. They want to finish this one up first, and then we'll go on to something else. But because the intro stage requires a lot of systems that we don't have yet, like cutscenes, it would require cutscenes, it would require completely brand new graphics, completely brand new music, because the original didn't have an intro stage. Those are the kind of things that we're going to leave towards the end of the project, because if we start to run out of time or something catastrophic happens, we can't just cut a boss out of the game. Well, we could cut the intro stage and just put a cutscene in and go. So there's many reasons to leave that kind of stuff for the end. So that's why you probably won't see an intro stage for quite a while. You know, if a demo comes out, it'll probably be 2 bosses, you know, at best, and a stage select, and that's it. And then, you know, whatever. That would be my prediction. Only make a password screen and win all the awards. They got awards? We can win an award? Alright. Let's lock in, boys. Let's get the award. I don't even know what it is, but I want it now. Nah, I don't care so much about awards and stuff. It'd be kind of cool, I guess, but it's definitely not why I do this. So, I don't know. Do we have any more last minute questions? Because it's already a little after midnight for me, so I gotta start going. And I'm also sick this week, so... which I probably sound sick. Actually, you may not be able to tell because I improved the microphone quality. You'll know next week if it sounds better, if my voice sounds a little better, then you'll know that I was sick this week. But the microphone difference is so drastic this week. It's like night and day. You wouldn't even notice. But yeah, I'll answer any last minute questions and then I'm gonna go, I guess. Will the stage select work like Mega Man or Bass or Classic? It will work like the original game. So, like Mega Man 7, there were 2 sets of bosses in the Game Boy Mega Man 5. So you had 4 bosses at first, then you have an intermediate stage, and then you go to the next set of 4 bosses, and then you go to Wily stages after that. That's what the original did, that's what we plan to do. So... but yeah, because there was the question as whether or not all 8 would be available from the start, but there's actually like in-game story reasons to have them split up into 4 and 4, so I don't want to change that. Because I think that would kind of, I don't know, kind of change like the whole story layout of the game. But we want to add a stage between the 2 sets of 4 too. Like right now there's like a mini stage, in the original there's a mini stage where you fight Dark Moon after the first 4 bosses, and we want to expand that into a whole stage. I think that would be really good. And then the Wily stages are like one big stage too, so I want to split those up. I talked a little bit about it earlier in more detail, so you can check the VOD for more detail on that. Are Tango and Breakdash still going to require a charge? You mentioned 2 attack buttons. Yeah. It's broken in the build right now, but you can still... Like in Mega Man 8, you can use the Buster while you have a special weapon equipped. The special weapons don't work at the moment, because I broke them fixing something else. But they'll be fixed in time. But you can definitely use the Buster and the weapons at the same time. So it's like Mega Man 8 and Mega Man X4. I think 5 lets you do it as well. Mega Man X5. So I definitely want to do that. As for Tango and the break dash still requiring a charge, I want to avoid it. I understand why the charge is there. It's so that you can't just spam the break dash. But it would be kind of fun to spam the break dash. I don't know. I want to change the way the break dash works anyway. Because right now, if you use it and you make contact with something, like an enemy, you go through it, right? And it or no, actually I think it stops the dash once you make contact? Or maybe it lets you go through. I can't remember exactly. But it makes you invincible. It actually makes you invincible for like a whole second so that you don't actually collide with the enemy. And it's so cheap. It's so incredibly cheap. You can just do that and walk through everything in the game once you have it. Except bosses, obviously, but you know, all the normal enemies, you can literally just iframe your way through the whole stage. I want to change that because I think it's just weird the way they implemented it, and maybe they didn't have a choice, or they didn't have enough time to program a different way to do it. But I think if you played like Symphony of Night, you know, Richter's slide kick, if he hits something while he's doing the slide kick, he'll do a backflip out of it and move backwards so that he doesn't get hit by the enemy. I want to do something like that. I want to try that and see if that works, to see if that feels better. Because then you avoid the iframe issue, and you also, it's going to look cool, I guess. But in that case, I don't think it should have a charge. I think the reason they put the charge on it is because they had to put the iframes on it to keep you from bumping into the enemies when you use it. I think that's why they did that. So they're like, well, it has to have some downside to it. So let's make it so that you can't just use it with a button press. You have to hold it down and so have some sort of premeditation. You have to have a plan to use it. And if you take away the iframes, I don't think you need the charge anymore. You can just let people do it because you're going to have a little recovery period when you bounce off of them and get sent back a little bit. That's the downside of using the weapon instead of having to charge it. So I think that would work. Would it be any bonus stages in the future of the game? I'm not sure what you mean by bonus stages, but we do intend to add an intro stage, and we do intend to make a full stage out of Darkmoon's stage. So, and maybe adding more of like a Wily stage. Because again, in the original was one giant super stage for the end game. I'd like to break them up, but when you break them up, then maybe they're a little too small, so maybe we've got to add an original one in there somewhere. It stops and gives you iframes. Yeah, that's what I thought. The break dash. Depends on the enemy's health? Okay. Just tested it in 5DX. What if break dash had a long cooldown with a visible GUI effect? I think just like if it makes contact and it makes you do like a little backflip, it doesn't have to be a backflip, but some sort of animation where you're recovering, that's good enough, I think, of a cooldown. Then once you touch ground again and you come out of that recovery, you can just use it again if you want. Because you're not invulnerable while that's happening either, so you can't... I mean, you can spam it, but it has the higher potential of you getting hit by something automatically, so I think that's enough of a downside. I don't think it needs a cooldown on top of that. Break dash tears through enemies with less health than the damage it does. Backflip would be cool. Yeah, I think the backflip should happen maybe even if the enemy is destroyed. I think it might feel a little random if it doesn't. Because at least if it always does the same thing, you always know what to expect when it makes contact. So you always can plan ahead. But if you hit an enemy with 2 buster shots and then hit them with the break dash, and it goes through and you weren't expecting that, where like if you just hit them with the break dash, maybe you would have bounced off because it wouldn't do enough damage. But when you hit them before that and then you break dash and then you keep going forward, you might not expect that. You know, if you don't know all the enemy health and exactly how much damage everything does. I think it would be more helpful to the player to be like, okay, it always does this. I will always plan on it doing this, and I won't be caught off guard and fall off a ledge or something if it doesn't stop. Yeah. I think it would be more useful in that case too, because then you could just use it at a button press. You won't have to charge it. You can start using it to speed through the levels a little more. You know, if you plan out when you're going to do it, maybe you don't want to hit the enemy to cause a backflip, but you just want to dash once and then let off a buster charge. Because again, even while I have this weapon select, I can still use the buster. It's going to be like Mega Man 8 in that regard. You'll be able to use the weapons and the buster at the same time, so you don't have to worry about break dash doing damage. You could just use it for mobility and keep charging your shot in the meantime. And so you can kind of use it as like a sub-weapon and use any of the weapons as sub-weapons in that case. Which I think is the right move because some of them are not very useful on their own, but if you could just do one button tap to get like a photon missile and the times that it would be useful, and then just use the buster as your main weapon, I think that would be much better, and I think those weapons would be much more suited to that kind of setup. I definitely don't use them very often in the original game because switching to them just is cumbersome. You have to pause and switch and pause and go back. And by then, the opportunity to have used it may have already passed. So if it's just there on one button and I can just hit it when I want to, I think that works. Yeah, like the PS1 games, yeah. Since we already have slide, can break dash be used in mid-air? I thought about it, but I don't know. My biggest fear with that is that it makes some of the other items like the rush stuff obsolete. If you could do that, then pretty much every place in the game where you would have used like rush jet or coil, other than reaching a high spot, like if you needed coil to bridge a horizontal gap, you don't need rush at all anymore. It almost becomes useless in that case. So I don't know. I think maybe that would be a little too far. It would start replacing other things and be a little too ubiquitous. I mean, the thing with the slide is that slide doesn't do damage. The break dash is definitely a safer option for mobility. But I do understand the feeling of like, okay, well, slide still goes fast, right? You can still go fast with it. So what can break dash do that slide can't? I mean, and the question is, or the answer is just it's safer. If you slide into an enemy, you will be hit. If you break dash into an enemy, you will not be hit. You will do damage to them, potentially kill them, and then be able to move on your way. As long as the recoil doesn't send you into a pit or something. What if we could have break slide? Well, you already have slide. It's kind of the same thing, right? You just can't go through a gap. I don't think there would be a big enough difference to bother with doing both. Charge kick 2.0. I was thinking that, right? You could backflip out of it. Then it really would be Richter from Symphony of the Night. I mean, slide has a different use too. Like slide you can get under projectiles or under dangerous situations. It's not just a traversal thing or a speed up thing. It's like, oh, I want to slide under the bullet that was shot at me. You know, like here, I could slide, you know, potentially through that gap. So there's other uses that slide has where the break shot is just, it's just different. And that's okay. I think it should be different. I'll take one more question. Who's got the last question? Fight for it. Better get it in. Or someone else will. Then I have to go. My lips are dry and killing me. Alright, last question. What if break dash in mid-air is a melee attack with no momentum attack? I guess I don't understand. Can you rephrase the question? Not sure what you mean. You typed it fast. Fair enough, fair enough. Well, go ahead, go ahead. Give me the elaborate one. You got in, you got your slot. I'll wait for the elaborate version. Can't go all the way backwards this time. Only so far. I guess under normal circumstances you'd be stopped here, but since sliding is broken, you could walk through here. But then, I don't think there'd be any way you could ever actually make it back up these screens. Man, what are you typing, a novel? I know I asked for the elaborate version of the question, but I don't see it yet. Oh, here we go. I was thinking we could give Break Dash a mid-air input where it does a melee attack into backflip with no forward movement. Oh. I see what you're saying. Because, yeah, right now you can't use it in mid-air at all, right? I see what you're saying. That's interesting. I'll consider that. You're right, though, because it does not have any mid-air functionality at all in the original game. So shouldn't it have something, right? That's a good point. I'll have to think about that a bit more. But yeah, if you don't want it to be an air dash, then what would it do, right? That would be the question. Yeah, I'll think about it. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let me make a note of that. Before I forget it. Oh, yeah, I was trying to fix that file, and it didn't work! Okay, so, Break Dash has no mid-air use. It will not activate. So what can be done to potentially add some mid-air functionality? If it does an air dash, it might make all of rush items obsolete. So maybe something else? Stationary melee attack? There we go. There's the note. Cool. Well, thank you. That's something for me to think about for sure. Maybe a short air dash, not enough to traverse any significant gap. Yeah, the problem is that the levels are the screens are so small that even like if it only went like 3 blocks, you could say, oh, I can jump this far on my own, and then the extra 3 gets me all the way over here. So I don't know. I'll think about it. It could be something that I might have to test, like maybe the air dash is not as broken as I think it is, you know, or if it's shortened, that maybe it's just enough, you know. I might just have to put it in and find out, you know. 2 blocks might do the trick. Yeah, I mean, 2 blocks is only the size of this pillar here, so I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to think about it. Puto has a dive attack. Ooh! Like a dive kick? I'm putting that in the notes. Ooh, yeah. What about a dive kick? Yeah, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Exactly. I think we're cooking with that one. That one's pretty good. Because you're not going to get much significant horizontal movement, because it's going to be going down. But you can get the backflip out of it still, right? You could, boom, hit him, backflip out of it. And kind of like, I don't know, you can maybe save yourself from the situation or do extra damage or something. Or hit him, start backflip and start charging with the backflip, and then when you get lined up with him, boom! And hit him with the buster or something. That would be cool. Yeah, I like that. I think we're gonna try that one first. That one sounds sick. Get a dive kick. There we go. How about that? I think that would work. Do some trick shots with that stuff. Alright, and that's a good place to end it. So, thanks everybody for showing up. I have to do the whole spiel, so I do have a Patreon. If you want to throw me a couple pennies on the Patreon, Mark D. Wiz on there. Oh, Mark D. Wiz anywhere. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We do it all. Or, well, I guess I do. I'm Mark D. Wiz. I'm not multiple people. I'm me. I'm a singular. Now, obviously, I have a team that helps me with the game, so that's a team effort. But like, I'm the only one streaming and whatever. So, follow me wherever I am, and yeah, I don't know. If you want to, if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's fine. But thanks everybody for showing up, and we'll be back on Wednesday, hopefully on time. I was just late because we had the cat at the vet, and that ran late, so I was like an hour late. But normally we're at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays, and I'm not really sure what we'll be doing next week. I definitely have a lot of project updates, but beyond that, I don't know, if I have anything specifically in mind. But we'll figure something out, and that'll be that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. So have a good one, and bye bye.